y'all. This is the ryokan that I stayed in last night, and it's very pleasant. I'm going to stay there again tonight. And really quiet, nice and comfortable, perfect temperature, the works. So I can handle that. Looks like maybe the storm that was on its way either hasn't hit us yet, or I'm getting more the impression that it's clearly rained. I think we might have just got the edge of it, and maybe it's done. Hopefully, no more rain, maybe. So I'm gonna go out today, and I'm going to, I was fully prepared to bunker down for the storm and just edit all day inside of that ryokan, but it's not raining, so I'm gonna go to the northernmost part of Japan right now. I don't remember who it was that I met somewhere along the road here, and they told me that Wakanai was like, she said that, I remember it was a woman, that's all I remember. She said that it was not like Japan. She said it reminded her of Europe. I was like, okay, that sounds awesome. That's I mean, I'm not upset I came. I don't want this to come off as complaining, but like, that was a big part of like, oh, I'm gonna come here and check out this city that seems out of place. And I'm here now, and like, it just sort of looks like every other Japanese city. Like, it doesn't feel European at all. Maybe I haven't found the part that she is referring to. But like the main stretch area that it seems like all the local people like shop and, you know, go to for whatever, it's all like, it looks like it could be in Okinawa as far as I'm concerned. So the only thing that I've seen that's been remotely like even sort of European is there is a lot of Russian written on signs here. And I saw a couple of Russian dudes like outside of a convenience store, like a couple of Jay and Silent Bob looking dudes, but probably Russian. Just I'm judging them based on how they're dressed, basically. But like that, yeah, that's all I've seen that's even like remotely European looking. And I think that there's a lot of Russian sailors that end up here and stuff because of the port here. And I've heard in the past that sometimes they can come into town and get a little rambunctious. So I'm trying to shake my Russian vibe a little bit here. I don't know how to, I don't even know what it is, so I don't know how to shake it, but I'm trying my hardest, just like smiling, you know what I mean? Trying to look like I'm not gonna be a sailor that's gonna jack you up. So this situation is kind of similar to when I went to the most eastern point of Japan in Hokkaido like last week or whatever in Nemuro, where it's not like, it's not a place people go. It's just on the outskirts of town, and like there's nothing there really except for, I'm assuming, like a monument that's like, yo, here's the most northern point, or in that case the most eastern point. So it's like Wednesday or something, I don't know, it's a day, and there's basically no cars going that way. Like I've been walking along this road trying to catch a ride for not tremendous a lot of time, but I'm just keeping an eye on the people that go by, and like these people are going to work, and they're going to work around here. Like you can just tell the way they're dressed, and like just they're alone in their car in their uniform or whatever it is, and they're headed that way. And I don't know if there's any tourists going out there right now. Maybe the weather has got everybody scared off, or maybe because it's the middle of the week. Like, I don't know. So I'm not super sure if I'm gonna catch a ride or not. But a bus is pulling up. And I think he thought I wanted to get on, but I didn't. So anyway, I'm in a bus station now. And I think I'm gonna chill here, try to hitch. It's on the road on the way down, and if a bus comes before a ride comes, which a bus should be here in like 20 minutes, then I'll just take the bus. And like there's, again, it's just like there's like a cost and time benefit like equation balance that you have to weigh in your head. Like, is it worth waiting another hour or two to save the 500 yen or whatever it's gonna take to just go and be there on the bus? And the weather might not hold out all day. I think I'm just gonna do the bus. As much fun as it would be to just hitch it, because it is always fun, sometimes you just gotta make that sacrifice. All right, I made it. I hitchhiked it. Like a minute or two before the bus came, a guy stopped. That's how it always works out, it seems like. So anyway, a guy stopped and was like, hey, I can give you a ride there. I was like, all right. So we just got to talking. I was like, why are you going this direction? Like, you know, like alone, like you look like you're working or whatever. And he said that he was a music teacher and his school was along this route. And it turns out that he works for everything around here is the northernmost blah. So he works for the northernmost junior high school in Japan. So he was like, on the way there, he's like, so you want to stop at the school and check it out and have some coffee? I was like, all right, yeah, of course. So we stop at it, and it's a really nice school. Having been to like the school that Katie taught at and stuff, and seen other public schools, they're not like bad. They're just kind of grungy a little bit. But this one was like super clean, and partially perhaps because it was kind of new. It was only 10 years old, but it was like really just a beautiful facility. And the teachers were all really laid back and really friendly, which is a bit different than the experience that Katie had. Not that they weren't friendly, but the teachers were always like to the gills busy, just like slamming, always like running around, like always just ridiculously busy. And these teachers were all really laid back and chill, and it was a really cool thing to see. And they gave me a tour of the school. It didn't take long because there's only 25 students and they have 9 teachers. Like a really small facility. But when you walk up to it, you're like, oh, this is pretty big. But then when you look inside, you're like, oh, there's 3 classrooms. He points into a room with like 9 kids. He was like, that's the 8th grade. I was like, wait, that's the whole night? That's all of them? And he's like, yeah, that's the whole 8th grade. It was really cool. So when we arrived, there was a guy, one of the teachers that spoke English, and he had lived in Africa for a few years and was telling me about his experience in Africa, and lived in Canada, and yeah, it was very splendid as always. But anyway, I've made it. So that monument that's behind me right now, that's the northernmost point in Japan. And as you can see, there's a line for photos. So I'm gonna have to go down there and I'm gonna have to get in line, get myself a picture. And yeah, like the dude told me like from here you can see Russia, like straight up, if it's not cloudy. But again, I don't know if it's ever not cloudy here in Hokkaido. My experience this summer has been clear days don't exist. I think I've just had bad luck with this year, but it's all right. It's still been an awesome adventure. Apparently they've got a monument here that will play a song that was written about this area that was popular in the 70s. So they got this button, and I'm gonna push it. Where's the music coming from? Over here, okay. It's a speaker. Man. Alright, there we go. I gotta juggle an umbrella for wind and everything. That's our jam. I hope YouTube doesn't issue a copyright takedown on this rock. I do have to admit this umbrella is working pretty good as a wind guard, but I'm worried about some like Mary Poppins style problems. Like I don't want to end up in Russia actually, you know what I mean? This plaque talking about the Northernmost Monument has got some interesting language. It says this monument marks the northernmost point of freely accessible Japanese territory. I wonder what they mean by that exactly. Is it free? Like, do they mean that because like there's probably some rock that you can't get to without a boat, or like do they mean that I wonder if there's a territorial dispute and that's what they mean? Because I was thinking about this a couple days ago about the easternmost place, and nothing said something like freely accessible, but not that I noticed. Everything was just like, this is the easternmost point, and at the same time they were saying that islands that were further east of that were Russian islands. The Russian islands, they were disputed, and they were like, those are Japanese islands. And I was like, but if you call this point the easternmost point of Japan, that's sort of saying that those islands aren't Japanese. So I was thinking about that a couple days ago. I was like, they could use that. The Russian government's gonna take a picture of that plaque and use it in court. But this one's a little more ambiguous. Like, I wonder exactly what freely accessible is meant to mean. So you got the monument, yeah? But then you've got the true northernmost point back here behind the monument. I mean, that's what I'm in for. Screw the monument, I want reality, you know what I mean? So here we go. I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna climb out on those rocks, but close enough, I guess. That's the real monument. They've got some stairs here you can go down. I guess maybe because so many people want to put their toes in the water, you know, like that thing I do. I don't know. Maybe so it's easy to just swim on over there to Russia. I'm not sure. We're gonna find out how ridiculously cold this water is, because something tells me we're not looking at real nice beach weather water here. Yeah. You know, it's not that bad. It's not like, you wouldn't swim in that. I mean, some people would swim in that, but I wouldn't swim in that. but it's more kind of like, you know how cold water beaches are? You know what I mean? Like when you're up in, like, you know, a cold place and the water is just sort of like slimy or something. It's kind of what's going on. It's definitely not swimmable. Why are there stairs? I guess just for what I just did. It's like a little village here that's been built up around this point, and it seems a little more well visited and well maintained than the place was in the most eastern part of Nemuro, which was, I mean, it was a big ghetto, let's be real. This seems kind of nice, and all the buildings have got something on them that's like, this is the northernmost blah blah blah. Like what I was saying earlier, northernmost school, northernmost point, northernmost everything. Like one of these buildings has got a thing on the front that says the latitude, longitude, and I think that's kind of cool, like north blah blah blah, 45 degrees, 31 minutes? Is that how you say that in English? I don't even know, but yeah. So 45 degrees, 31 whatevers. And I just realized it also says you can get the northernmost bukkake here. Bukkake donburi is served at that little shop. I want to apologize to anybody that understood that joke. It's actually a pretty nice little park on top of a hill here, and I guess you can, like, there's a walking path that they've got, and you can walk like quite a ways, like maybe 10 or 15 kilometers or something to connect to another place. I don't know if I'm gonna do that because, again, like the weather might just shift on me and I don't want to be stuck out in the middle of some like walk path away from a road and have like a typhoon arrive. But it's really cool up here. You have a really nice view. I really wish it was clear, man. It would be unbelievable, I think, if it was clear. And they've got one of those signs that's like, you know, how far away it is to like places in the world, like Anchorage, Alaska, and Baguio in the Philippines. I don't know why they chose Baguio, but okay, maybe it's in, I don't know why they chose Baguio. I don't know, it is, whatever. So why they didn't put like a major city or something, like a major city. And places in Russia, and of note, they wrote Tokyo on here, and it's 1,106 kilometers away. So I hitchhiked a majority of that, minus the ferry ride that, I mean, I still haven't quite figured out how to hitchhike. Maybe on my way back I'll figure that one out. They've got a peace memorial up here that is here to memorialize people that were Japanese people whose ships were sunken by an American ship. And it also says that it is to memorialize the Americans who were then sunken by Japanese ships. Interestingly enough, they've named the memorial after the American ship, which is Wahoo, which is sort of just like a, I mean, it's kind of a goofy sounding name for a peace memorial because they've named the memorial after it. And they've also chosen a pretty weird font for the English. Like, it's not Comic Sans, but it's kind of close. It's strange how some of the letters are bigger and smaller than others. It just seems like they didn't run that one by somebody familiar with English fonts, because for a peace memorial, I think I would have chosen something a little more stoic. They've got quite a few different memorials here dedicated to different things of varying degrees of like seriousness, like the Peace Memorial and like, of course, just the Northernmost Point Memorial. And you start to kind of think like maybe if there's too many memorials, then they sort of start to detract from one another, and it's just like, it turns into just like a bunch of random things put together. And I was like, man, I don't know about all these memorials, you know? But then I found this one, and this one is my favorite by far because it's this couple, and they're just like, you know, looking off into the distance, all like, I don't know, romantically or whatever that look on their face is. But the purpose of the memorial is to commemorate Hokkaido reaching 1 million tons of milk production and 1.5 million head of dairy cattle. Not exactly something that you normally see memorials for, so yeah, I can get down on that. A memorial? Is that the right word? Statue. I guess we'll call it a statue. Or memorial. This is the northernmost ramen shop in Japan, and they serve scallop ramen, and I'm not down on scallops, to be honest with you, so that's not going to be my thing. And the guy that ended up giving me a ride out here was like, hey, yeah, you can eat at this place, it's the northernmost ramen in the country. And I was like, oh, how is it? And he was like, it's not bad. So I don't think I'm missing a whole lot. I'd be willing to wager that's the northernmost shrine in Japan. The sun has started to come out a bit, and you can see some of the different blues in the sea. I really like that. I'm glad I got to see that while I was here. I think maybe the storm might be over. It's really like that, the way that the clouds were coming from is totally clear now. Wonderful. Flavor is okay. This one's maple. Still really dry cookie. I could use some real food. This says it's the northernmost rider house in Japan. And honestly, sometimes it's hard to tell, like, is that one, like, is it functional or is it dilapidated? I can't tell. Could go either way with the rider houses. I checked one, I don't know if didn't mention this last night. I went to one last night and I was like, yo, you know, there were beds available and everything was like sweet. I was like, is there a shower? And they were like, no. And I was like, well, where's the closest place you can take a shower? And they were like, about 3 kilometers. And I was like, not gonna go 3 kilometers to take a bath. Like, that's just inconvenient. Like, if you have a bicycle, it's not too bad, you know, but like on foot or whatever, it's just a pain. So that's why I ended up where I ended up. So I'm walking along trying to find a ride, and I noticed a deer up on this hill, and it looks magical. It's like standing there all prestigious, and I took a picture of it. I'll drop the picture in. And like before I got a chance to take a video, it ran off, but it was barking at me. It was going like, meow, and it was like stomping its like hoof at me. So I don't know if I'm in its territory. I'm a little worried I'm gonna get jacked. So I grabbed a ride. It took a little while, maybe 45 minutes or something. I grabbed a ride with a guy. He like loves adventure. He's been to America, did like Greyhound bus tours, and been all over Southeast Asia and stuff. And now he's doing a train tour of Japan. And he seems like he's really into trains. He was telling me all about like how the train system used to be nationalized and now it's privatized, and like different types of trains, and like dude was like super into trains. He was cool. He was fun. Fun conversation, talking about things that I haven't talked about with other people, and that's fun. Like, it's cool when the conversation veers a little bit away from like, you know, the normal like, oh, where are you from and what food do you like and stuff like that. When it goes into places that you don't expect, that's a lot of fun. And he brought me back into Wakanai, and I'm at the Wakanai train station now, and it's a really modern looking, cool building, and of course it's the northernmost train station in the country, and I'm actually standing right in front of a sign that's like the northernmost train line in the country. So this is the end of the train line, and this is as far north as you can come on rails. Pretty cool. That is quite literally one of the best train stations I've ever been in. They have got this like upstairs area with like these really nice seats and this big area where you can lay down and take a nap if you need to and stuff, and lots of information at a tourist information area, and a really friendly lady that gives you like little flyers, and like it's done amazingly, and it's built for the type of people who come here. So people come here on bicycles, and they come here on motorcycle journeys and stuff, and they want to come and just have a bunch of information in one area, and maybe they want to take a nap, and they've like looked at the people that come, and they're like, what do these people need? And they perfectly built exactly what's necessary. That gets screwed up so often that when you see it done correctly, it's shocking. They have just really thought out every little piece of it, and it's just a really wonderful train station. Blown away. But I still don't know, the one thing I can't find about this area that I really want to know is like food. And I ask people, I'm like, what's the common food here? And they're like, scallops, I guess. Like, that's the answer I keep getting. So I'm like, where's the restaurant that's amazing? That's what I want to try. I want to try the amazing restaurant. I had gyudon last night. That didn't work out. I mean, it was good, but it's not like, you know, special. Like, and then this morning I just had like, you know, a sandwich from a convenience store because I wanted to get moving. But I'm getting hungry and I want something amazing. Getting a little worried I'm going to end up at a convenience store again. I'm not exactly clear on the why, but there's this giant seawall that they built here. I mean, I understand why the seawall is here, but I don't understand why it looks like a Roman aqueduct system. It's a nice touch, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit out of place, I guess. So it's got these huge columns and these archways and stuff. I guess on the other side of this, I haven't looked yet, but I'm assuming on the other side of this is going to be ocean. And maybe they have big storms or something that come and blow the wave up over this direction or whatever. So they've constructed this, and instead of just those big ugly blocks that they use in a lot of places, they've decided to build something a little bit of class. And class up the joint a bit, I guess. Yeah, maybe that's it. Now I see why it's here. Fits in perfectly. Yep, ocean. They've also stacked these big ugly blocks here, but they've kind of made it hard to see them from the city. So instead you get the dome that they call it. I don't know, dome, archway? I'm not sure what I would call that. Seawall, I guess, is the best thing. I'm gonna bet that's the northernmost of that thing that there is in the country. So regarding that school that I went to earlier, I apologize I don't have any video, but I mean, asking to break a camera open in a school that's operating with students in it is just not something I'm gonna do. Like I said, it was really like well built and well maintained, and like there were like 25 students and 9 teachers, and I started like wondering, like, why does that exist? How is it possibly financially feasible to have those kids there and not ship them to like another area, even if it took an hour or something, you know? Like, I'm just blown away that they would, it wasn't a shack, like this was a school, it was like a multi-leveled school. Like, how is that financially feasible? And I ended up talking to somebody else, and they mentioned to me that the fishermen in that area are quite wealthy, and perhaps because they are wealthy, they pay a tremendous amount of taxes, and that's why the school is able to exist. This is a guess, but it's the interesting part about the whole story is that in my mind, like, fishermen are, I don't know why, but like I think fishermen like not wealthy. Like, that's not what I think of when I think of fishermen. You think of like a fishing village, and you think of like people like, you know, they're getting by, but like they're not like, you know, they're not driving a Lexus, you know. But I guess for whatever reason, whatever they're fishing out of those waters in that area is a high-priced item, so the fishermen are doing all right. And the guy that had given me the tour of the school actually specifically mentioned that the students, almost all the students' parents work in the fishing industry in that little area, and I guess that's the only industry that exists, really, because even where we were at, that wasn't even a touristy area. So, yeah. Anyway, interesting little tidbit there, I guess. I hope. All right, bad news, good news. Bad news is I ended up at a convenience store. I'm starving. I haven't had proper food all day. I had that calorie mate. I had a sandwich for breakfast, but it's been a while. Anyways, so I came to Seiko Mato, which is their little jingle. And like I said before, I don't even remember. At some point I ate here because I heard that the bentos and stuff were fresh and really good. And it was okay. It was all right. So thought I'd give another one a shot. This time I've got a chicken and mushroom donburi. We've got these little guys here, mushrooms and some chicken and some sauce, and I have no idea what I'm getting into, but I like all the ingredients. That's good. A little bit spicy. Ooh, it's a little spicy. It's kind of got like a, it's vaguely like a Chinese-ish type of taste to it, like what you expect from, not American Chinese food at all. Maybe not even Chinese food, but Japanese Chinese food. Sort of leans in that direction with that little bit of kick to it. Hey, it's good. And it sits on a bed of rice, so I'm happy. I realized what it reminded me of. It reminds me of mabo tofu. The dish that I guess at some point we made a video about getting some from 7-Eleven, and we incorrectly called it a Japanese dish, I think. I've never watched the video back, but I've gotten like a gazillion messages of people correcting us on that. When we first came to Japan, like, it was the first time we'd ever encountered that dish, so we didn't know. But now I am super cultured, and I understand that that flavor is sort of a Japanese interpretation of Chinese food. So I'm just walking through this little town, like going to another important endpoint area. And there's this beautiful little park here, and in this little park, there's deers. Like, deers? Is it deer? Deer? There's like, what's a bunch of deer called? A squad? Squad of deer? Just chilling in this little park. They're not barking at me either, so I feel like it's okay to get a little closer. These deer are probably pretty used to people because, like, not only are they not barking at me, but they turn their backs to me like they don't even care. I wonder if people feed them and stuff. I don't know. They're way too big. I'm not getting close. One of them's got horns. I don't want them messing me up. But they're pretty cool looking spots and everything. It's like Bambi, man. It's clearing up enough that I can see some mountains now. This little town is full of deer. I nearly walked into this one. It's a whole nother squad. Is it a flock? Pack of deer? Pack of deer? Flock of deer? Squad. We're going with squad. So in Japanese, they have different ways of counting different things. Like, the number system completely alters if you're counting like long skinny things, or small, like a round cylindrical thing, or a big animal or a small animal. It's really, really complicated. And it's sort of like the same situation we have with, like, what do you call a group of animals? Like, you know, what's a group of penguins, or what's a group of tanukis, or what's a group of whatever. Like a whole bunch of hedgehogs. What do you call a bunch of hedgehogs? Like, you can guess, but a lot of times people are like, I'm not quite sure. This is another little cape that is positioned good for sunsets. So according to my little brochure, it is famous for a lot of people coming here to watch the sunset and stuff. And it seems positioned absolutely perfectly. They've got this sign on the wall as well that's like, the sun will set at this time. And of course they have to update that, like probably on the daily basis. You know how scientists are like, yeah, it'll set today at this time, and then tomorrow 26 seconds later, and like somebody's like checking that sign and then coming out there and flipping things around. I like that. But yeah, it looks like a really nice place for a nice sunset. And I don't think I'm gonna get a stunning sunset today because of the cloud cover, but things are clearing up, and it's the happiest sunset I think I've seen in a long time, just because that storm is going that way. I'm just really happy to see that leaving. And now I have to think, what do I want to do next? So my two options at this point are, there are two more islands that are about 60 kilometers from here that you can go to, and I kind of really want to go to one of them. I don't know why, just because. I think I want to be able to tell Japanese people, like, after the trip, yeah, I went to that island, because like they know that island, like yeah, I went there, I did that. So I'm thinking about that a little bit, and maybe not, I don't know. And the other option would be to head back south to Tokyo. So either way, I'm either going to those islands and then going back to Tokyo, or I'm going back to Tokyo. And I do plan to hitchhike it. So this series is going to continue, believe it or not, because it's probably, I don't even want to guess what month it is that you're watching this this footage, how long it's taken me to edit all of this, and then like be posting other stuff with Katie, which is what I'm hoping to have done. It's probably, I don't know, is it spring yet? God, I hope it's not spring by the time you're watching this. My bad if it is, but I hope if at least it's been interesting. So I don't plan to take quite as long to go back to Tokyo. I'm gonna try to like actually just cook it. Cook the bacon. Cook the bacon back down to Tokyo. Go kind of, not as fast as I can, but I just want to hit one more city in Hokkaido on the way out, and then maybe a couple of places along the way to get back to Tokyo, and then be back with Katie. I've got a English lesson that I have to teach on the 29th, so I have about a month left. I don't think it'll take that long though. I imagine I'll be back in, I told Katie last night, I guesstimate 10 days. Hey, I see a ferry. You know, I wonder if that mountain that I see is one of those islands. I bet you it is. I'm gonna check. Hey, my guess was right. I asked somebody, and this is that island. It's one of those two islands that I can choose from, for sure. That's awesome. Now I want to go to it because it's big, and it's got a cloud around the top, and it reminds me of that island we went to in the Philippines. The name has slipped my mind. It was really cool though. We stayed in the cloud. It was awesome. So now I want to go to this place and stay in another cloud if possible. Well, I've been staying in clouds long enough. I think it might be time to stay in a clear area. I met this wonderful older man. He looked like he was 50 and he was like 75. He's got grandchildren like that are like in middle school and stuff, and I was like, yeah, you look about 50 years old, because he asked me to guess. And anyway, so he was just wonderful, and he was there with his wife, and he said he was from Osaka, but his wife was from Hokkaido, and he told me that women from Hokkaido are the best women in Japan. And I was like, why? I was like, he didn't follow. He spoke English. He wanted to speak English with me, so we speak English. I was like, why are they the best? And he didn't follow what I said. I was like, well, are they like the most beautiful? Are they smartest? And he looks at me. He goes in English. He looks at me. He goes, nighttime. I was like, oh dang. And his wife was like, she didn't speak English, and she was like kind of standing next to us, and I was just like, okay, rock on, bro. So that sunset spot was about 3 or 4 kilometers outside of town, and I had just walked there earlier. And on the way back, it's getting a little cold, a little breezy, a little cold. It's not too bad in the city, but it was a little bit cold out there on the Cape or whatever. And I was gonna grab the bus, and as soon as I walked up to the bus shut its doors and drove away. Like, not like rudely, but like I was like just barely there. And I was like, well, so I put my sign out, and like the third car that drove by picked me up, and I saw some of the people that were on the bus, and I guess the bus went a slightly different route because now I'm walking down the street in the city. You know, it was like a 5-minute ride, and the bus with those people that I missed just drove by. So I beat it. This is amazing. Oh, anyway, I forgot to tell you, the guy that picked me up, I like to talk about those people, like explain what their situation is. He is on his vacation. He was like a rough kind of dude. He's an auto mechanic, and he lives in Toshimaku, which is the same, not prefecture, what is ku? Ward, that Katie and I live in. So we were like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. And he's just like in this van, and he's like, I've just been sleeping in the van for the whole trip. And he said, I was like, why'd you come to Hokkaido? Like, why'd you decide to come up here? And he was like, because I've never been here before. That guy and this guy have a very similar outlook on how to travel. Got a tourist map that labels this railroad crossing as the northernmost railroad crossing in Japan. Very important stuff. You can see the train station just right up the tracks. Alright, so I was gonna go to the sushi restaurant, but on the way there I found a Russian restaurant, and I was like, well, that's not something I know anything at all about. So I looked at their menu, and it's a list of Russian stuff in Japanese. I can't read any of it. I mean, I can phonetically read it, but I have no idea what any of it means. It's just words to me. Something in there says salad. That's all I know. So they brought out a few things, and I ordered a course, and I just ordered it because it was the cheapest course. That's the only reason I picked it. And they're gonna just they've been bringing food out like non-stop since I ordered it. So let's see, I'm gonna try some of what they brought me. So first off, this is the utensil box. I like the little, you know, the little Russian doll things. What are they called? I don't know. Oh, hey, there's chopsticks in there. Not sure the etiquette here. Chopsticks or fork. Russian food in Japan. All right, so this I believe is a beet salad. And this is a piece of bread with something inside of it. And this, your guess is as good as mine. This is awesome. I love that I can't read any of it at all. Alright, so we're going to start with some beet salad. So, I guess... it's like potatoes. And, beets, maybe? Yeah. Yeah. I think. A couple days ago I couldn't tell what flavor a gummy was, so I don't trust myself. That's nice. I could eat some more of that. And I will. Alright, next up. A piece of bread with stuff inside, maybe. I'm just going to eat it with my hand. I don't know if that's proper or not, but what are you going to do? That's good. It's like like one of the Chinese dumpling things, yeah, because it's got the stuff inside, but stuffed inside of a really good like European style bread. Okay, so there's pieces of meat. Oh damn, that's really good. And maybe some onions, and I think egg is in there. Ooh. That's really good. I think this thing is called a, let's see here, Piroshiki? Who knows how it's said in Russian, but that's what the Japanese. Piroshiki. Oh man, that's a really good snack. I can get down on a couple of those. Alright, and the last thing, I'm going to use a spoon, I guess? I don't know. So it's this thing. And on... What this looks like to me is benishoga. Like pieces of pickled ginger. But something tells me that's probably not what it is. I don't know. It's warm. It's a mild flavor. It's like a soup, definitely. I have no idea what that is. It's good though. It's a good flavor. It's not a strong flavor, but it's like a full flavor, like a comforting flavor almost. Vegetable-y a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's a chunk of potato. That's just a guess, like Russian potato, right? That's a thing, right? That's good. Some carrots in there too. Yeah, I think it's a potato. I don't know, man. I'm bad at that. This is this is fun. It's flavors that are very, very different than Japanese flavors, obviously. So that's really fun to try that. And it's like this. He said this was like a Russian oolong tea. It's much more mild in flavor than oolong tea is. It's not bad. It's just not. I really like oolong tea a lot, so I think this is just kind of like it's kind of just not that exciting for me. It's okay though. It's not bad. I think more things are going to be coming out, but I'm not 100% certain. Maybe like a stick of meat or something. I think that's what's in the picture. I'm excited about that stick of meat. I'm eating more of the soup, and it's very vegetable soup, like American style vegetable soup, with maybe like a few spices in there that wouldn't be normal for an American meal. But just the way that all of the vegetables have seemingly been cooked in there a long time, and there's cabbage in there, which is a good addition. And I think that the cabbage is kind of the overwhelming flavor, oddly enough, because cabbage, you know, isn't a really strong flavor, but it tends to be like the base of the flavor is based on that cabbage, and then there's been some spices and stuff that have added to it to make it exciting. Okay, something else just arrived, and it just straight up looks like Chinese food. So, what? Alright, so those are like flat out dumplings, right? Let's go. Let's see what we got. Alright, and they just came out. They're really warm. So, here we go. Really hot. Seems to be some meat inside. It's very much like what an American Chinese restaurant would serve as dumplings. Like wonton soup. It tastes like a wonton, like straight up. Like an American wonton. Whoa. Okay, is that Russian? Did some American Chinese entrepreneurs get something confused at some point and start selling Russian food as wonton soup? Or is it just because they're kind of close to each other, so maybe they share that part of their cuisine? Oh, that's good. I'm not disappointed in anything. This is all very fun. Alright, an animal on a sword just showed up. And I got a piece of it. I don't know what kind of meat this is. It looks like lamb, if you ask me. Like, that looks lamby to me, but who knows? Oh god, it's really, really good. There's like a lemon or something. Oh my god. That's fantastic. It's spiced really well, and it's very soft in a good way. It's easy to chew. The texture is spot on. That's amazing. I'm gonna ask the guy what kind of meat that is. I'm really curious. I think I'm gonna bet lamb. I only have 3 more pizzas, so that's the main problem here. Apparently it's pork. I don't think I've ever had pork that is that, like, soft. Like, usually, like, a pork chop is a little bit, you know, like, not chewy, but, like, you know, a little tougher. This is really, really, like, this is really easy to chew. Like, you know, a baby or an old person with no teeth could probably get down on this. And I would recommend it to both of them. The cabbage soup also had a couple little pieces of meat hiding in the bottom, and they were, I believe, also pork. The flavor was really good, but it was obvious that they had used a less good cut, but it had absorbed so much of the soup flavor that it was still a pretty delightful little surprise. I didn't expect to find like a chunk of meat in my vegetable soup. Pardon my slur, y'all, but like a pony happened. Not the whole thing right now, like this has been a couple days worth of adventure, but anyway, it was laundry day, so I came into a Japanese laundromat, and I think this is the first time I've ever had to use one before, to be honest with you. And I don't know if I've ever used one in America either, so tell me if this is normal. Like, so the machine, it's like, that's a washing machine and a dryer at the same time, which that's pretty nice, yeah. And it also like dispenses the soap into the machine on its own. And look at this, there's this button on here, and if you push this button, so this one is not being used, right? So, what? Okay, there we go. So if I push this button on here, it's gonna start to clean the machine. So it like cleanses it from somebody else's funk, right? Yeah, see? And it's for free. So I mean, I could go and I could clean all the machines, but I'm not gonna be that guy. But yeah, so you put your clothes into it, you push like whichever, this is like for a lot of clothes, this is for not a lot of clothes, you push whichever button you want, and then it's kind of expensive, like that's like $8 and that's like $10. And then it washes all the clothes, like it adds the soap, washes all the clothes, and then dries them. And it didn't become super clean, or super, it didn't be that pony, messed me up, y'all. It didn't become super dry, so I'm running it one more time for another 10 minutes or something for 100 yen, and then hopefully after that we'll be in good shape. But for now, I think I'm gonna go to the supermarket, see if I can find some, I want a Snickers. This is not okay. I drank too much wine. Look at it getting clean. This is blowing my mind right now. Yo-yos are amazing. Yes. Look at this. This is specifically for a futon. So you can watch a Japanese futon. I think I probably explained this a million times, but like a futon in America is like a big thing, and a futon in Japan is just the mattress thing. So anyway, you can bring your futon in here, and you can wash it, and then you can dry it. Like this is a futon dryer, straight up. Look at that thing. Like you lay the futon, like, yeah. Whoa, it's really warm in there. Somebody has recently dried their futon. Ooh. Shoes. It's a shoe washer or dryer, I guess. Everybody, this is the washer. Whoa, look at that. Is this trivial? Is this all stuff that like exists in all laundromats and I'm just like a spoiled white guy and I don't know that? Or is this Japan stuffs? I don't know, I'm fascinated. I hope my hose finished during 3 more minutes. Man, it only took me 7 minutes to make a video and then play with a yo-yo and eat a Snickers. Crazy. Alright, I'm gonna save you any more trouble of watching this. I apologize in advance. Wait, in not advance, whatever advent that. Oh. At home, we live in the world of sun drying your clothes. So like, I don't often get to experience the deliciousness of taking something out of the dryer and putting it right on. I just put this guy on. Pretty nice. If you have that thing you can do at home, like, you know, you got a dryer and all that, take advantage of it and love it. It's like a skit from Seinfeld or something, right? Where you like cook a shirt in a pizza oven or something. I'm feeling that right now. It's lovely. I just checked out of the hotel with the interesting old lady. And I had to pay, and she asked me if I wanted a receipt. I was like, yeah, I can't get a receipt. And she was like, what's your name? And this is always a thing. If I just say my name at natural speed, like even with Japanese pronunciation, Japanese people are 99% of the time caught off guard unless they know Eric Clapton or something. Like they can't, they're not expecting this series of sounds like etiquette. Like it's just bizarre in Japanese. I totally understand. So I pronounced it like, you know, slowly. She was like, what's your name? I was like, Eric. And she was like, what? Like, and she says to me, I'm too old to deal with your English words. And it's like, I don't understand. And this other guy is standing next to us, and he's now translating my Japanese to her in Japanese. He's saying exactly the same things I'm saying. And he's like, Eric. And like, Eric, she said, and she's like, what? And like, just for, it's just like a production. And she brings me a piece of paper and a pen, and she's like, write it. So I wrote it down, and she's like, oh, okay. So then she writes it down, and she's like grumbling about English words. And I mean, she's not being like she's not being like, she's not being like racist or anything. It's not like that. She's just like, I'm too old to deal with this shit. Like that's basically her attitude. And then as soon as I pay, her disposition completely flips. And she is incredibly speaking to me in like the king's Japanese or the emperor's Japanese, like super, super, super polite, and like her mannerisms all shift and everything. I don't think it had anything to do with having paid. I don't think it was a money thing. I think it was just she's got a ritual she does at the end of the transaction, and it's like perfect. So she did her little ritual, and then I peaced out and had to do a ferry port. And I just realized I still have that lady's key, so now I get to go back there and be the stupid foreigner. Something tells me there's a story here, like an angry wife or something found the cigarettes. I know you guys were a little upset it was a little dark when I shot this last time, but I'm back to the northernmost railroad crossing in Japan. Real exciting. Hey, there it is. So see, now you can actually see there's a train station right down the tracks. Woo! I got here pretty early. Got like an hour and a half to wait. But I got my tickets and bought them from a vending machine. So Japanese. I love vending machines now. They're amazing. Oh, I'm on one of Japan's notoriously beautiful ferries, headed to Reboon Island. And I'm going there based on just seeing it yesterday when I was watching the sunset, and it looked cool coming up out of the ocean, so I'm on my way. I keep saying like, okay, this will be the last place I go, then I head back to Tokyo. So like, I'm gonna say this will be the last place I go, then I'm gonna head back to Tokyo. However, there's one more island that might be interesting. Anyways, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna go to that second island. We're gonna go to Reboon Island and we're gonna check it out, maybe for a day or two, and then we're just gonna see what happens. This ferry is really cool. It's like a pretty big ferry, and it's got room for parking cars on it, so people can take cars over to the island. And I think the journey is about 2 hours, and it's going to be very comfortable because there's tons and tons of open seats. And on the second class area, they basically got these big open rooms with this floor that's a little bit elevated. You take your shoes off, and then you can go and you can relax on the floor. And a lot of people are just napping now. So I don't know about nap, but I will definitely get my chill on. The bathroom in this boat is not, you know, adequate. Alright, that's my island right there. That's where I'm going. I do like sleeping on boats, let me tell you that. Well, this island looks like it would be an amazing place to ride a scooter on. Like, unbelievable place to scoot. Islands always are though, because you have this little contained circle and you can scoot around, and it's always amazing. However, I don't have a driver's license. So I asked, they have little 50cc scooters. And we're in Japan, so there's like rules, like they're real rules. But I still asked the dude, I was like, so like, on this island, like, can you run a scooter without a license? Like, is it legit? Like, you know what I mean? Do people look the other way just because of all the tourism and stuff or whatever? That's kind of what I was getting at. And he was like, dude, you gotta have a license. Like, nobody's gonna rent you a scooter. So, I don't want to get in trouble either, but you never know. Like, it could be a little lax in this area and stuff. Like, you know, I might have taken advantage of it or at least thought about it, but I'm not gonna do it. And I do have an American, well, shoot. I don't even think I have an American driver's license since I lost my wallet. But it doesn't matter. It wouldn't have worked anyways. I can't use the American license here because my international permit is expired because you can only use it for a year when you're in Japan, and then you have to get a Japanese license, blah, 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 blah. Katie is the only one that has a driver's license between the two of us in Japan. So now between the two of us and anywhere, because again, my license in my wallet, which who knows where that is. So I'm walking to the town, and I don't know if, I think the weather's gonna be okay. So I might just sleep outside tonight, and there's onsens and stuff here, so maybe I'll just take a shower in an onsen. Or if I can find some place that is cool / affordable, maybe I'll stay there. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea why I'm even here. So it's kind of exciting. I get to explore that and figure it out. I went to the tourist information area, and they have a lot of tourists here, but it didn't seem like they had a whole lot of information. Like, they have a map, it's not really that extensive. So I guess I'm gonna just have to talk to people and ask them what to do, which is totally cool. Going to the top of that looks like a thing to do. Gotta find a way to get my bag off my back though. That's the first priority. They had coin lockers back at the ferry port. So worst case scenario, I can stick it in the coin locker. But I'm gonna check out the accommodation situation. And if there's some place then that also can hold my bag, you know what I mean? Walked into town, it was really close. And on my way there, I met a German guy. He's he's been bicycling in Japan since, I don't know, like 6 months ago or something. And his goal is to bicycle around Japan for a year. So like I'm like I don't think I'm hardcore or nothing. Don't get me wrong. Don't think that's what I'm going at here. Like, but like I mean I'm hitchhiking and like I feel like, you know, you kind of feel like what you're doing is a little bit off the beaten track and yada yada yada. And then you meet a German who has been bicycling from Osaka all the way to here and plans on going back and going down through Kyushu and stuff. And he said he's hoping to take about a year to do the whole thing. And I'm just like, oh, I've just been riding with some people. Like, what I'm doing is nothing compared to some of the stuff that, like, his stories are nuts. This guy is like, yeah, like he's like living off the land while he's doing this. Like he's just catching fish out of rivers or lake. He said lakes are his best. Catching fish and just cooking the fish. And he showed me pictures. He caught a snake and killed the snake and like skinned it and then ate the snake meat. Like, and he said he had it with pumpkin. He said it goes really good. He said the snake tastes like chicken mixed with eel, kind of, which makes a lot of sense, I guess. I mean, it's like a land snake, sort of, like the land eel, like, so it's a chicken, like, I guess that makes sense. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that, but yeah, so I mean, we hung out for a while and we climbed up to the top of that thing that I wanted to climb up to and had a very nice view, and I could see some of the ferries going away and stuff that we had come on one of the ferries. There's a bunch of them actually. They come a few times a day, and whichever one was leaving, got to see that, and it was cool. And there's a lighthouse up there and just a really nice view. And we ended up kind of like on our way to the top, we ended up kind of in a weird area I don't think we were supposed to be in, and we had to climb down this like dilapidated stair system and then hike up through these like thick bush stuff, things Katie and I get into all the time. And I was like, yeah, we can go. And he was like, I don't know. And I'm the guy's eating a snake. Like, he's like, I don't know if we should go up there. I'm like, it's all good. So I don't know, maybe it's like people have got their different comfortable levels. Like, I'm okay with trudging through an area that doesn't look like I'm supposed to be there, and he's okay with killing and eating a snake. This is hardcore. So anyway, he's just gonna he's gonna go in the woods and find a place to sleep. He has a tent and stuff. Again, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. I saw a place to stay, a little bit expensive. It was 4,500 yen. I'd like to find something a little cheaper than that, and I think the weather's supposed to be okay. I might end up on a park bench if they have parks here. I think they have parks, because the city, not city, but the island has got a reasonable sized little town. I'm surprised actually how much stuff there is, and it looks pretty modern, and there's a convenience store and everything. So I kind of expected in my mind to be in like a little fishing village or something, but the port area is pretty built up. Wonder if maybe if you get away from that a little bit, it breaks down a bit. But I don't have any idea what I'm gonna do here. So everything I had planned, which was hike up that thing that I saw when I got off the boat, I'm done with that. So now I have other things that I need to come, my next step is to come up with things to do. There's a mountain in the middle of this that's supposed to be an amazing hike, but I don't think I'm gonna do it. The way that the weather is changing and how lazy I am and all these things are combining, and it's a pretty serious hike. Like, I think it might be an overnight type thing, just by looking at this mountain, which is now hiding in a cloud, which is part of the reason I don't want to hike up it, because it looks a little bit daunting for somebody who has no real experience. But my German friend, he said he's gonna climb up there, but he's all good, because if he runs out of food or something, he'll just like kill a serpent or whatever. He's all right. Me, on the other hand, I need a 7-Eleven, you know? Oh, I walked up the road and I found a place. It seems like this town is at low tourist season. I don't think there's gonna be any problem like finding things like this. And I met a really friendly girl that works here, and she showed me. I was like, I'm not really into seafood. I'm on an island, and like the thing here is octopus, and I'm just really not into octopus. And I was like, where can I eat? And she was like, So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for food, but Hopefully I'll find something. And she was explaining that the town closes down pretty early, so don't like go out late looking for food. Like the convenience store, which I'm used to being open 24 hours a day, closes at like 8 o'clock or something. It's a really crazy early time. But I mean, there's nobody lives here. It's a really like laid back little community, despite being kind of built up a little bit. So she gave me some recommended places to go. And I don't know, I'm thinking about just renting a bicycle tomorrow and seeing if I can ride the bicycle all the way around the island. But I don't know. It's like 30 kilometers or something. Is that possible? I don't have any idea. My gauge on like distances and then how far it takes to like walk and ride and stuff. I walked like 16 kilometers like a few weeks ago. And it took a long time, but I did it. So it's got to be possible to bicycle 30 in a day. Yeah, it should be okay. It should be no problem. 10 kilometers an hour on a bicycle. This seems about right? I could do it in 3.5 hours, I think. I mean, with stops and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I've got to decide that, and hopefully the weather will be good tomorrow. But this is just another, they call it a dorm, but it's, you look at this, it's just a regular Japanese, like, ryokan style, like, building, but they put this here. And maybe a stranger will sleep there. But the way she was talking, not gonna happen. There's rooms to myself. And it's a really nice, like, super clean area. And there's a bunch of different ones. She asked me, do you want the view of the ocean or do you want the view of the mountain? So we looked out the window and that's the view of the mountain right now. So I was like, how about we go with the view of the ocean, which is looking a little bit better because it's still cloudy, but at least the ocean is just right there instead of so far away that it's buried in a cloud. Oh, anyway, so yeah, it just seems like a really clean place. And some of the rooms look like they have, they've got beds and stuff, but I'll be real, I'd prefer a tatami floor because I'm huge and my feet will dangle off those beds. And let's see, what else we got? I think I'm the only person here. So like normal ryokan stuff, like brushing your teeth stuffs, toilets stuffs. Again, kind of like the last one, women can walk in here and see men urinating. I don't know why that's tripping me out. Maybe it happens all the time. Does that happen where you live? Or that was a little strange. Oh look, and they do have like another dorm looking situation. Like that looks like a dorm. I wonder why the room I'm in, on my price list says the lowest price, so I'm surprised. Maybe that's cheaper or something? I don't know. Maybe it's something else, who knows? More of the same rooms over here. And this is on the second floor. The first floor is very nice as well. So I'm happy I just walked down the street and found this. Now I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I might go hike up another one of those like hill thingies and then try to find some dinner and then get come back early tonight maybe? And then in the morning, try to kick it out early and then see if I can bicycle around this beast. Oh wow, I came downstairs. Look at this. This room is awesome. It's like a big, like a public area, and there's like a kitchen back there. That's amazing. I find it amazing how wildly different the cleanliness levels of these places can be. Like this place is the same price that I paid for that mystery house place. And that place was, let's be real, that was like one of the worst places I've stayed in Japan ever. And this place is phenomenal looking. Wow. Oh, whoa. I bet that comes in awesome on clear nights here. Wonder if clear nights, again, like clear nights in Japan, or in Hokkaido, I don't know if that exists. Oh, this is lovely. I'm really happy I found this place. This is great. Huge kitchen. It looks like an industrial kitchen. Wow. That's my guest house, and I think that's where I'm gonna go climb. I summit 2 of these things in one day. I'm a superhero. That's where I went earlier. You can see a pretty good overview of the town. Again, it's not huge, but it's more built up than I'd expected it to be. So the 5 o'clock go home music that they play, like this is a thing in Japan, by the way. Cities play music like it's for the kids to go home, I guess. Don't know if you can hear it. I hope you can hear it. It's Yesterday by the Beatles. This town has chosen a Beatles song. That's amazing. This is no like little grim fishing town. This is a pretty nice little town. Like people have got modern looking houses that were like built recently and are very clean and like, yeah, I don't know, again, like maybe I'm just being crazy, but I think fishing village and I think like, you know, people struggling to get by or whatever, but that totally doesn't seem like what's going on here. And I'm under the impression the only industries here are fishing and tourism. Maybe the tourism industry is really strong or something, or maybe whatever they're fishing out of the sea here is worth a lot of money. But it seems like they're doing all right. I imagine land costs are somewhat low, but to build a house here, just to get the pieces to build a house here, would probably not be cheap. Like, just to get them to northern Hokkaido is probably not cheap. And then also to a little island north of northern Hokkaido. Interesting, but yeah, I'm really surprised. It's a really nice little village. So these black birds, they're like crows, and they are really smart, and they're kind of a pest, to be honest. Like in Tokyo, they just dig through trash and make a mess and stuff, and they'll get into things. They're like open trash cans and stuff, and they're just annoying, and they're really big. When Katie and I first came to Japan when we were traveling here, we called them baby snatchers, because we were like, man, that thing's gonna snatch up somebody's baby. Like, it's a big bird. I've never seen such a high concentration of them all in one place. Like, this little field is kind of full of them. And it's a little intimidating because, like, if they wanted to, they could probably take me down. Straight up, like that many of them. Like, I'm a little bit worried. And earlier, my German friend has left his bicycle at the bottom of that hill that we went up. And on his bicycle, he had some food and stuff and a bunch of trash and just laundry detergent and stuff. Just like stuff you would have if you were living off the land like he was. Like snake killing rocks and stuff, whatever. And he had tied his food up, so the food was okay. But the birds kept getting into the laundry detergent they wanted. That I guess they liked the smell of it or something. I hope they didn't eat too much of it. Well, I guess if they did, that's their problem. But I shouldn't steal laundry detergent, you know. But they were getting into things, and they, on multiple occasions, we walked past the bike a couple times and then fixed things and then went on and then came back. They had opened like zipper compartments and stuff that were on the bags and stuff that were attached to his thing. Like, they're really smart and they're strong. And yeah, I don't know, there's just a lot of them here. I've never seen like this many of them. I really don't like them. Like, I don't know, Japanese people will tell you, like, don't be mean to them because they'll remember you forever and ruin your life. So I'm always really like skittish about like not making eye contact and like, you know, not getting in his personal space and stuff. But with so many of them around, it's kind of hard not to. There's one flying right for me right now. It's freaking me out. I don't think I've ever seen something that so perfectly captured like that picturesque image people have of Japan in their mind. This pond is so tranquil. There's koi fish in it. It's got these little bridges. It's got a little like, what are those things called? Water, electricity making water thingies. What is that? What's it called? Dang it, I can't remember. Yeah, so it's got that thing. And there's this Japanese crane, like just like walking around looking like a beautiful dinosaur, like hunting for fish, like hunting for fish, fishing. I'm not Englishing well right now. Whenever I find like things like this bridge with these archways, I'm like, man, they designed this exactly for me. I just, I think I'm like a third goat or something. I just love like climbing up on things like that. This is wonderful. Maybe I just never grew up. I think that might have something to do with it. If I hadn't found a place to stay, like this park would have probably been where I would have stayed. It would be quite fantastic. Ooh, I wonder if mosquitoes would be a problem because of the lake. Gotta keep that in mind, stupid mosquitoes. Also, I think it might rain soon. This is one of my favorite things to see. This means that over here, I'm gonna find a foot bath. This is just absolutely lovely. It's not super warm, but it's warm enough. In case anybody's keeping track, that thing on my leg is not looking better. Man, what is that? Spider bite? Plant? I don't know, man. It does, again, it doesn't hurt. It's just a thing that exists. This whole leg isn't doing good. I don't know if you've noticed as well, I'm limping a little bit. Got this cut on the bottom of my foot. I don't really know how to film it at the moment, but it's just, this cut is just like gnarly. It's not really bad, it just makes me like hobble when I walk a little bit. Getting old. Sitting here in this footbath and I noticed a sign just over the hill. And I told you I wasn't making this up. Those birds are evil, man. The sign says, beware of the attack of the crows. Like, seriously, attack. They use the word attack. I just wandered out of the footbath area and into a little place called Vekishinomori, and means like history forest. Not sure what the history of, but it's kind of spooky. Like, I'm alone and like it's getting dark and there's like moss all over the ground, and it's like I got this little bit of a spooky vibe, and it feels like the complete polar opposite of that really tranquil place I saw with the dinosaur that was fishing. He seems like completely the opposite. I wonder what the significance of this is. Why history forest? Maybe if you go into this forest, you become history. Looks like they might have had some strong winds from some of the typhoons that have been coming through. That looks a lot like what I had seen when I was in Teshikaga, when I walked along the that lake, and all those trees and stuff have been destroyed. And the cut on that tree looks pretty fresh, so I'm gonna bet that's a recent development. Tree is history. Look at that guy doing push-ups. This is an interesting name for a restaurant. Why would you name your restaurant Tsunami? Am I missing something here? Like, it's like those things kill people, yeah? Weird name for a restaurant. Right in front of it is a pole that's like, beware of tsunamis. And of course, what would be a Japanese town without a pachinko hall? Check out this futuristic stoplight. I guess it's LED or something. It's really thin. It makes perfect sense to have like a stoplight be LED at this point in time, but I don't think I've ever seen one before or not noticed them being that thin. Is that what stoplights look like in America now? Or are they still like those thick box looking things with the monkey inside with the lantern? That's how it works, right? I've opted to call it an early night and come back at like 6 o'clock. It's dark out there, and real talk, that town is kind of dead. So what I ended up doing is, I had asked a girl earlier, like, I'm really not into octopus, like, is there any place to eat? And she gave me a couple of recommendations, and one of them was that tsunami place. I'm like, I'm not gonna eat this tsunami place. And the other place just looked kind of like an expensive yakiniku place. So I just hit the Seiko Mart and got a bento. They're good, man. don't judge me. And this one is like a chicken, looks like a kind of like a Chinese-y sauce with a chicken and an egg and some leek on it. And I got a little salad to go with it as well, just because I haven't had a whole lot to eat today, so figured I would double down. So anyway, let's give a piece of meat a try, because I thought it looked pretty good. I was gonna get like just like a bowl of like ramen noodle, like, you know, cup noodle thing, but then I saw this and I was like, oh. It was damn good. Yeah, it's like, almost like, I'm gonna go this far. That's like American Chinese food. Isn't that what I said about the last one? I had something else that tasted like American Chinese food. But yeah, not bad. I'm glad I picked the room by the ocean, because I opened my window last night and I got to listen to the ocean while I was sleeping, and that's something that's not so common, especially when you live in the middle of Tokyo. I got myself some wheels for the day, and not motorized wheels. I'm the motor in this case. So the place that I'm staying at, which is wonderful, by the way, just absolutely, just a joy to stay there. Like, it's so clean and so quiet, so peaceful. It's just like a really nice place. They also rent bicycles, and they rent bicycles of a reasonably high quality. Sometimes when you rent bicycles, you end up with like, you know, some busted up thing that nobody's maintained, or like just some crusty bike, all rusty chain and all yada yada yada. But the bike that they've rented me is like a nice, probably the nicest bike I've ever personally ridden. I don't know if it's a good bike or not. It's just a Giant. That's just a normal like brand. I don't think that means anything amazing or anything, but like, it's easy to ride and it feels good, and Like I'm happy with this rental. And yesterday I had mentioned that the island was only 30 kilometers around, and I look at the map and I was like, man, that's not right. Like this girl told me it was 30 kilometers, and like I was like, you ride it in 3 hours? This doesn't seem right. Like I was looking at it, and then I measured it on Google Maps, and it's like 62 or something like that. So like that's not, I'm not gonna do that today, no way. Like I do not have bicycle skills, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm out of shape and old. So there's a bike path that's like 25 kilometers, and I think maybe that's what she was talking about, and I just missed the part where she said bike route. Or I think what happened, she said bike route, I assumed she meant the whole island, but what she meant was this like path. So I'm gonna go to the start of this bike route, and then I'm just gonna ride along the bike route, and there's a few things to see, and that'll take me quite a few hours as well to, you know, go at my pace. So I'm not gonna get a chance to circumvent the islands. It's way too big. You could do it, I guess if you did it in like 2 days or something like that, it would be comfortable. Like you could do that. It would probably be no problem. Stay at that other end at the end of one day and then come all the way back. That would be doable. But I think I'm only gonna be on this island today, and then tomorrow I'm gonna make a jump either towards Tokyo or to the other island, which would then be, I swear, my end point before I started heading back to Tokyo. So I need to make that decision. Today's weather is, it's probably not gonna rain, but maybe it will. It's really cloudy. It's quite windy, which was the worst part about the bike ride. The 5-minute bike ride I took to get to the convenience store. And it's a bit cold, and I wore shorts today because bicycle. I didn't want to get the pant legs and the chain, and then, you know, lots of exercise and like getting warm and stuff. But I'm starting to wonder if I made a mistake there, because it's a bit brisk. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go and see what I can find along this little bike path. I think that foot bath that I went and hit last night, I think that's along that path. So I'm looking forward to that part the most at the moment, because that's all I know about. Oh, and I have a rice ball, and I think it has cheese inside. Yep, cheese. It's okay. It's cool because it's served warm, so the cheese is a little bit melty. It's okay. It's not amazing. It's just, I mean, it's Japanese cheese. This is hard to be upset about. I wouldn't say that I'm dreadfully out of shape, like as a human being. Like when I'm in Tokyo, I go and I jog a few times a week and stuff. No ridiculous distances, just enough to keep my heart from like dying. But on a bike, it's like completely different set of body parts you're using. And I've only ridden like half an hour now, and yeah, my body's aware of what parts of the body those parts are. A Japanese national pastime for adults and children alike is to have like a little book. I don't have one, unfortunately, to show you, but they carry, it's just a little book with blank pages in it usually. And then when you go to some place interesting, you can put a stamp inside the book, and then it's kind of like a collect them all type thing. So for instance, in Tokyo, on a lot of the train stations, I think the entire Yamanote line, the line that runs a circle around the city, at every station there's a little place to get a stamp, and you can put the stamp in your book. And a lot of like touristy areas have got similar systems, and they've got that system going on this island. So that's what this little station is. This is a stamp station, and if you come down here and you open this little door, inside is a stamp, and it shows where you're at, I suppose. Yeah, I guess it's like a number or something. It's numbered, and then you put it in your book, and then you go to the next one, you get your stamp, and then at the end of the day you feel accomplished because you have you filled your stamp book up with all the little places you've been. It's pretty wonderful. I should get into it because I don't know, I like collecting little things like that. It seems like something Katie'd really be into, like getting stamps. Maybe I'll take her on a stamp adventure someday. Find like the best one somewhere in Tokyo and be like, okay, we gotta go find all of them today. That'd make a fun video, wouldn't it? Oh, this is a great little map that shows the island here, and I'm staying somewhere in this area up here. And this path right here that goes along like this is the cycling path. And you can see that that's the distance that I decided I'm gonna go, as opposed to this distance, which is what I thought I was gonna do yesterday, until I realized not gonna make it. So yeah, that's nice. So it gives you a good visualization. And the center here is, as you can see, a very tall mountain. And it would be fun to climb that, but dude, with the weather, and apparently you need like hiking gear, like real, like hardcore, like, you know, professional style stuff, and like, not so much. Apparently late summer is when a lot of the flowers on this island are in bloom, which is interesting because to me it's like a springy thing, but the climate here is all wonky because of how far north we are, I guess. But you can see here there's a bunch of like flowers in this little flower bed, and I think I'm going to see more things like this. Last night I had walked past a field that was full of flowers as well, and that was pretty nice to find. I hope I see more of that. They've got this monument here that's right on the ocean, and it's built in commemoration. I'm having trouble with that word. Memorial? Not memorial, I don't know. Commemoration. It's built because an American guy in 1848 had shown up in Japan. Maybe here, it's unclear. It says it's in Notsuka, and I don't know if this little area is called Notsuka or not. I'm not sure. But anyway, so somewhere in Japan this guy showed up. Maybe it was here, I don't know. And that's when Japan had been closed off from the outside world. So when he showed up, he tried to like act like he was a shipwrecked sailor, but he had come here intentionally, I suppose. And they see, now that's hardcore. Like, even the guy eating a snake's got nothing on this dude in the 1800s. This guy's just like, okay, that's a closed off country, let's go. Let's just do this thing. It'd be like if you went to North Korea right now on a boat and just showed up and were like, what up? Like, that's kind of like, you get this closed off country where it's super dangerous to go as a foreigner, and you're just like, eh, let's give it a go. And then also, like, you know, in the 1800s, it's just insane. Anyways, so this guy showed up, and he was arrested, and they took him down to Nagasaki, and he was in prison there. And I guess while he was there, he was teaching people English and like doing like some sort of cultural exchange type thing, even though he was a prisoner. And when Commander Perry showed up in Japan a few years later, like with his guns, and was like, yo, you're opening up the country, some of this guy, Ronald McDonald, wait, what, really? Yeah, Ranald, maybe, R-A-N-A-L-D, Ranald McDonald, ah, what? Anyway, so the guy that had originally come here, his students who had taught English worked as interpreters between Commodore Perry and like to negotiate with, you know, opening up at, you know, the tip of a gun, basically. So this guy is known as the first English teacher in Japan, and that's kind of interesting, having taught English in Japan in the past. It's like my forefather or something. Not only was he an English teacher in Japan, being like, you know, my forefather in that sense, he's also born in Oregon. So was I. Like, what? Oregon? What? That's a shame. This is how a majority of the Japanese tourists are seeing the island. Okay, I'll be fair. That's how a majority of the older Japanese people are seeing the island. I've seen plenty of younger people bicycling it too. I found the beginning of the bicycle path. Wonder how far it is to that footpath. One of my side hobbies, especially on this trip, has been to take pictures of Japanese signs, and I post them on a subreddit called Japanese in the Wild, which is used for people who, like, they don't live in Japan and they want to like see signs, like real things in Japan, and then be able to translate them and talk about that and stuff. And it's a pretty small little community, but there's just something about it, like the purity of it, that I really like. So I've got a bunch of signs I've been taking pictures of during this trip that I haven't posted yet, but by the time you read this, I probably will have posted them. Anyway, I just found my favorite sign yet. It says, "Beware of seagull poop." I've done my first kilo on the bike path. Just off the bike path, I've come across a little graveyard, and it's different than Tokyo graveyards because there's space between the tombs and stuff. Tombstones, I guess, and a lot of them look just like, you know, your normal like Japanese tombstone style thing, but there's some things here that I've never seen like this before. Like it's bottles of maybe beer or something. But is that a what is this? Is there somebody there? Is that what's going on with this one? It's really cool to see the difference between the graveyards here and the ones in Tokyo, where these are just like literally like in the woods a little bit. There's some space and seems a little more like serene. I mean, I guess that's what you get when you have more space available for such activities. I don't know if those are activities, but such things. Coming in on the ferry, I had noticed these ridges that were kind of up above from where the edge of the island was, and I was like, man, do they have like a bypass or something that they've built for like cars and stuff to go? Is that what those bridges are? Just on a little island, like it just seemed like crazy. Like, why would they build a bypass like that for automobiles when there's a road that like obviously goes around the perimeter of the island and connects all the little towns and everything? It turns out the bridge isn't for cars, it's for bicycles. Like, this is literally a bicycle only path, and they built this magnificent bridge over this like valley so that you can easily just go straight across without going down a hill and up another. The bike path is like phenomenal. It's very, very nice. If you come here, you gotta rent a bike and ride this bike path. It's amazing. I can't believe this is here. Look at that guy. Take a little detour off the bike path. And this huge hill isn't that fun to walk up. It's like 600 meters or something. But I think it's gonna be fun to go back down. Alright, I made it up to the top of the hill. I've come to a place that, and I came here because I like the name of it, basically. It's called Hime Numa, I think is how you say it in Japanese. And it means princess swamp. And to me, those two things are very conflicting concepts. Like beautiful princess, yada yada yada, swamp. So I gotta see what this is all about. I'm fully expecting to find like Bride of Shrek or whatever her name was. You know, the girl from Something About Mary. She could be down here. Down here at the Princess Swamp, the mountain in the middle of the island is starting to pop out of the clouds a little bit. And the swamp is a nice little place. I don't know if I would use the word swamp. Maybe bog goes better. I got bad news, good news, bad news, worse news. The bad news is I'm a bit hungry. Apparently riding a bicycle will do that. The good news is I have food. The bad news is it's a calorie mate. And the worst news is that I just went, screw it, I'm gonna get the one that looks the grossest, and I got cheese flavor. So I've got it here. It smells like a Cheez-It, kind of, like a sweet Cheez-It. It's actually not bad. I think it might be less, I'm not going to say better, less, I think it might be less disgusting than the chocolate one. I think the chocolate one was the worst one I've had. Maple was okay. Cheese is a bit cheesy. Like, why is it cheesy? Yeah, and then I think the last one that I haven't had, I don't know, that I've seen anyways, they have one that's plain. And I don't know, don't know how excited I am about plain, but I guess if I've done cheese, plain seems a lot less scary. They built this like nice little walking path to go around Princess Bog. We're gonna upgrade it to Bog. Bog is above swamp, I think, in my mind. So they've built this little path, and it's kind of a nice little walk, just a few hundred meters around it. It's a small body of water, boggy of water. At some point they had a tree fall. I'm assuming it destroyed the path because they've built this little detour here. And the detour, very adorably, just goes right through the tree. From the Princess Bog, you end up getting a pretty nice view of that mountain. Down is a lot more fun. There's been like 3 or 4 of these bridges. This one is by far the most impressive. It says it's 80 meters long, and it's one of those like with the huge steel thing above it and everything. This looks amazing. From a distance, I was 100% convinced this was for cars. Cannot believe they built this for bicycles. Looks like they had another tree problem here. Like, that had to have been a pretty substantial tree to have fallen from that far down and still create this much damage. Around Tokyo, there's a lot of places that are called Fujimi, blah, blah, blah. The school that Katie had worked at was called Fujimi, blah, blah, blah. And, well, not the blah, blah, blah part, but Fujimi means, like, basically like being able to see Mount Fuji. And I was surprised to see a lot of things up here are named the same thing. So, like, this bridge is, like, Fujimi as well. Like, they've used the same name that you would use for something in the Tokyo area where, I mean, Tokyo is close to Mount Fuji. This is not close to Mount Fuji. But apparently the mountain here, it looks so much like Mount Fuji, I guess. That's what they say. I don't know if I really agree. Maybe in the wintertime when there's snow on it, it looks different or whatever. But the shape of it is kind of iconic in the same way that Mount Fuji is. So they've gone ahead and they've co-opted that name and used it up here as well. And sure enough, from this bridge on a clear day, I'm sure that view of their Fuji would be pretty good. It's not bad now either. This sign means like the top of something, like a mountain or a hill, and I'm not sure if it means just the top of this specific hill or ish mountain thingy that I'm on, or if it means the top of the bike path, which would be nice because that means the rest of it would be downish. And it hasn't been like horribly steep or anything, but down is fun. I know I'm talking about these bridges a lot, but they're getting to the point where they're like more than 100 meters long, like they're doing quite an expanse. And this specific one, again, like we've got a view of this incredible mountain, well, kind of-ish, the cloud in front of the mountain, but let's pretend that you can see through the cloud. And then if we just spin around, you got a view of the ocean and the little town over here. And my German friend and I, we climbed up that. A little pack of preschool kids showed up at the footpath. And they couldn't see me, and they poked around the corner, and the kid was like, "Whoa, foreigner!" He said it out loud. He uses a polite word for it. And he was just like, "Oh, konnichiwa." And I was like, "Hello," you know, I said konnichiwa to him and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, "Do you like footpaths?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he turns to his friend, he's like, "Foreigners like footpaths." It was pretty adorable. They were maybe, I don't know, 5, something like that. Kind of popped out of the forest and onto like a, what's this, like a field, like a plain, I don't know, just like with lower vegetation, there's no trees and stuff. And I guess maybe, I don't know, I guess the climate or something, and what if they farm this at some point or something? Like, why are there no trees here, I guess, is my question. Yeah, I mean, the climate here is pretty harsh and it's pretty windy here, and I don't know, why are there no trees? Wait, you need a botanologist? But what's that? I'm not Englishing well, man. I feel like my brain is broken. Botologist? Katie, I need help. I've reached the portion of the ride where I'm going right along the coast. It's really nice. However, I did look at how far I've gone compared to how far I have to go, and that explains why I'm making videos, why I'm moving now. Look at that view. But in other news, I was just riding along and I was going through this, like, you know, this beautiful little area, and I noticed there's all these bugs everywhere, like flying around. It was really fun. And then a giant bee landed right here, nearly went in my mouth. I immediately was like, blew it away. But he had the opportunity to sting me right here before he departed. So yeah, it's a little numb right now. It didn't hurt that bad like at the time. I'm a little worried though. I haven't been stung by a bee since I was a kid, and I at one point had an allergic reaction. Nothing like deadly or anything, but I had like some pretty bad swelling when I was a little kid. But that was a long time ago, so I wonder maybe I won't have a problem. And Japanese bee, and you know, who knows? Who knows what's going on? So keep an eye on it. Hopefully, hopefully my head doesn't swell up like that. What was that? A Martin Short movie or something like that? Was it Martin Short? He's like in an airplane and he gets stung by a bee and he got all big. But anyway, I think I need some companionship. I'm losing my mind. This kid is pointing the wrong direction, but his message is legit. Just a little bit away is that other island that I'm thinking about going to. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. I think I'm gonna ask the girl at the guest house, like, is it good? And if she says it's good, then I'm gonna go. And if she doesn't say it's gonna be really good, then maybe I won't go. I don't know. This island's got a big mountain in the middle. The other one is really flat. That's the only thing I know about the other one. Back on this trip before I had made the jump up to Hokkaido, I was in a place called Hachinoe, and from there I did a day trip, I believe that's where it was, to a little island thing that was famous because they had umi neko, and it's some sort of special seagull, and there was tons of them all over the place. And there's a sign here that says, like, beware of the umi neko's babies. So I guess maybe they also lay eggs on this island too, and apparently the babies are dangerous. Down is fun. Especially when there's no bees. Eat the shift. We got another beware of the seagull poop sign. And this time they put the seagull in, and the look on his face is priceless. So it's like, gotta do what you gotta do. So here's another nice map. I started down here, and well, actually I started somewhere in this area near the town, and then I rode my bike along the coast to here, and then this is where the bike course started, and we had the Princess Swamp, and then I got stung by a bee somewhere in this area on this little on this little nipple here, and now I'm somewhere down over here, and all I do is this. But then I have to ride my bike all the way back to the town area. Hopefully I can get back before it's dark. That's my goal at this point. But if not, I got a little light on here. I think I should be all right. So the bike path goes right by a little town, and so I saw something that I thought looked like a convenience store, and turned out to be a little like a vegetable stand, and they've got signs outside that said they have bentos and sushi. So I was like, all right, I'm down on this. I'm pretty hungry. Like at Calorie Mate, you know, it was all right for a while. It's been a while now. So I busted up in there and I got a sushi roll. It's this tuna, and that's perfectly fine with me. It's like my favorite sushi thing to eat. So I was like, score, gonna grab that up. And next to it, there was also a fairly big, what is it called? Drugstore. And in the drugstore, they had like, it was drugstore stuffs, and then also like grocery store stuffs almost, like kind of like they had food, some food items and stuff in there. So kind of like a CVS, I guess, would have just like maybe some more on the food stuff than CVS, but got some banana chips. I got a Pocari Sweat. Still wondering what a Pocari is. Got some, ooh, and then the thing for dessert, I got some anandofu, which I love this stuff. It's so good. It's like a sweet pudding stuff that they serve at Chinese restaurants in Japan. I don't know, maybe in China as well, but it's like a Chinese thing, kind of. You're never sure. Like, I mean, we've been to China, but I don't remember exactly if they had that there. And like, if you ask an American what do they have in China for breakfast or for dessert, everybody would be like Chinese cookies, fortune cookies. But that's not true. So I mean, all I can say for sure is that they serve this at Chinese restaurants in Japan. It's very good. It's like $3. It's on point. I think the lady in the drugstore thought I was going to be sharing my anandofu with somebody, so she gave me 2 spoons. She is mistaken. I wonder if that's her way of like asking me out on a date. These black and yellow little ladybugs are all over this island. When I was hiking with my German friend yesterday, I was like literally covered with them. Like, well, not covered, I mean, not literally, but there was a lot of them on me, like more than one. I was outnumbered, let's put it that way. Above this urinal, they've got a pretty sweet ad for a product for men to use to stop post-toilet usage drippage, among other things. But they sell it in like the place for older people. You need the thing. Things don't work like they used to work. I just thought it was cute that it was for post-usage drippage. Like, everybody can get down on that. That's a problem for every man. I don't know if I've ever actually read the label on a Pocari Sweat before, but I just took a look at this one and thought it was kind of funny. Keep in mind, you're working with like it's like a Gatorade, like a sports drink type thing, kind of like grapefruity flavored or something, but essentially it's for, you know, replenishing, you know, lost stuffs. And it explains that like it's for replenishing electrolytes and stuff. But then the end of this thing here says that the appropriate density and electrolytes close to that of human body fluid. I don't know if that's the imagery I would have put on my sports drink. Oh, look who's back. The mountain, which I think is a dormant volcano, by the way, has shed its cloud cover, and now you can see how cragged it is on top. Like, it's really not a very smooth shape. It's really rocky looking and stuff. So to me, that even takes away more like that Fuji look that they think that they're saying it has. I really don't see that at all. I see a unique mountain. Like, I think they're detracting from this, calling it Mount Fuji, because the Mount Fuji is phenomenal, but this is phenomenal in its own way. All right, I made it to the end. I don't see an official marker, but I think it was about 27 kilometers. So now I've got to go a great majority of that back. So I'm not going to stick around here too long. But the best part about this is at the end, the reward that you get is a park golf course. Oh man, I gotta play some park golf. It looks so cool. What are these kids up to? Alrighty, so I'm back at my guest house, and I guess I'm gonna ballpark somewhere just under 40 kilometers on the bike today, which is a long way for somebody who hasn't ridden a bike in a couple of years. So I know I feel really good right now. You know, that post like endorphin thing you get from exercise. Like, I feel awesome right now. And I've also just had a shower, which really helped. On the way back, I ran into my German friend again. It's a small island. We keep running into each other. And just had a chat with him and another Japanese guy that had been cycling around. And the Japanese guy said he had cycled around the world recently. Did a 4-year trek around the world. It's crazy. I don't know. I've met people that do that, and it's just like, what I'm doing is clown shoes. But anyway, so I have decided to treat myself because I'm prissy compared to these people I'm meeting. I'm not like beating snakes to death and eating them. Like, these people are hardcore. I'm just like, I'm gonna get some convenience store food and stay in my guest house. And they're like, I'm gonna kill a snake with my hands and sleep in the woods. You know, I got nothing on that. So I've decided to treat myself to a feast. A convenience store feast. So the first thing I got, if anybody knows me, they know that I like chicken nanban. And this is a chicken nanban dish, and it is, it just said chicken nanban mayonnaise. That's all it said on it. But it looks colored a little bit different. Like, it's more of like a, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. I'm gonna guess it's a little spicy. It's not spicy. It's pretty soft. The breading is pretty soft, softer than normal. It's got an okay flavor. It's not Yayoi-ken. Yayoi-ken's chicken nanban is like, well, that's like some of the best. It's hard to beat. Another thing I got, so I kind of had high hopes for that, and it's okay. It's good. I would buy that again. I think it was 300 yen or something like that. It wasn't too expensive. So another thing I saw that was only 100 yen, and this is the only reason I bought it, because it was cheap, and I was like, I just want more substance. Like, look at that chicken bowl after like that much exercise I did, and I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna cut the cheese. You know what I mean? So I got something with some cheese on it, and that is a little pasta dish, and I have low hopes for the little pasta dish. It's a microwavable pasta dish, and it's from Japan, and that's not a good combination of of things. So man, the camera, it's really hard to do this. Let's see. All right, there we go. My arm was like twisted around, gonna break off or something. So actually, that's good. That's surprisingly good. I mean, it's not like superb pasta, but for a microwave dish for 100 yen from a convenience store, it's like a creamy taste, and it's got mushroom in there. Is definitely there, and there's some pepper and some like green spicy stuff, like not spicy, but spiced stuff. Okay, so maybe in the future I would get that again instead of the chicken nanban. Oh wow. And I also have another salad like what I had last night. But more importantly, I saw a vending machine in my guest house and they had some garana. And I haven't seen this brand before. So let's give it a try. Alright. That stuff's so good. It's very similar to the other ones I've had. It's a little bit of a metallic aftertaste, but man, that stuff is, why is this stuff so good? Yeah, I'm gonna have to find an outlet for this in Tokyo. It's gotta be somewhere, right? Gotta find like a Hokkaido import store or something. And like, so the bike ride today was amazing. Like it was a long bike ride, but it was not difficult. And if you come here, like, and traffic's light. If you come here, you've got to do that. Like, you've got to get a bike and just bike around. Like, if you have a bike, then do the whole island. My German friend had done the whole island. He was finishing it just now, like when I had run into him when I came back into town. So, but like if you don't have time for that, do this little bike path. It's beautiful. You have this really beautiful, like it's changing scenery, which is what I liked about it. Like you're in the forest and you're going over these bridges and there's these valleys and there's this princess bog. It's watching the clouds morph around the mountain all day, and like I'd get different views of the mountain over and over and over. That was like easily my favorite part of being on this island. The mountain is very, very distinct looking, and just watching it get swallowed by the clouds and then it breaks free of them, and yeah, really, really nice. And it was fun to get a lot of exercise and stuff, and using a nice bike. Like I don't think I've ever ridden a bike that nice. Like I know how gears work kind of on a bike, but like I got to like play with like have like a zillion gears on it and stuff, and like learn like the best way to keep your momentum going and stuff. Like I'm no bicycle genius. It's just like, it was fun to play with, like just on a toy level as well. So yeah, the whole experience was really, really nice. And I'm still trying to decide, am I going to the other island tomorrow, or am I going to go back to Hokkaido and head back south? I haven't decided. I think I'll just decide in the morning when I wake up and see how I feel. So I'm hoofing it over to the ferry terminal, and I asked on the internet this morning like what people think I should do. Like I asked on like Katie and Eric's Facebook page and stuff. Should I go to this other island? Or should I head home? So overwhelmingly everybody's like, go to the other island. So I'm gonna go to the other island. But after that, I swear I'm heading south. I swear. So this morning I got up and took a shower, blah blah blah, headed out the door. And I hit the Seiko Mart on the way out of town. I got a onigiri, and it was tuna mayo, and it was without a doubt the best like tuna anything I've ever eaten in my life. I couldn't believe how flavorful it was. So now I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be in Hokkaido for like a week, and now every time I see one of those places, I'm gonna be in there like looking for tuna mayo onigiri. It was real. It was real. Let's leave it at that. It was just real. That thing was amazing. I like how they've labeled this this ferry port. They call it the Umi no Eki, which is like, Eki is the word they use for train station. So it's like the station of the sea. Alright, well I'm now on Reboon Island, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. What I did is, so far, is I stuck my bag in a locker because I'm kind of thinking that maybe I'm just going to stay here for the day and I'm going to take the last ferry back to Wakanai, the main, the city on the main part of Hokkaido. Reason being, I looked for hotels on the internet and there was like nothing promisingly affordable. There's this one youth hostel that's really in a remote area, and not having mode of transportation, I don't want to get stuck in their world really, like they do all these tours and stuff, which is great, but I kind of just want to dilly around on my own, honestly. So anyway, the ferry ride is quite short between the two islands. I think they're like 10 kilometers apart or something. So it only took maybe 40 minutes or something. And it's still kind of early, it's before 10 o'clock. So maybe I won't actually sleep on this island tonight, and I'll just like do a whole bunch of stuff right now. I think I'm gonna walk out to this main road and ride a sign and try to catch a ride to the northern part of the island. There's a lake up there, and then maybe I can go to the northernmost part and then make my way back down to the port before the last boat leaves. It's like 5-ish, I think. So I think I can make all this work. And if not, then, you know, it'll work out. I'll figure something else out. But I'm thinking about, because I'm also excited about going back to Wakanai, because then I can stay with that lady again, the real rude lady. I like her. So the look on her face if I walk back in there is going to be pretty good. I think that might make this all worth it. That is over the line, Mother Nature. This island is also famous for its flowers, but I think like August was kind of the end of it for the season. So same as I saw a few over on Orishiri Island, but I don't think I'm going to see too many here. But I did see a couple in front of somebody's house, and they've done a pretty good job of making a pretty beautiful display. That's a pretty good shot of Orishiri Island hiding in the clouds. I'm gonna try to shoot this, and hopefully the wind isn't destroying the audio. It's unbelievably windy here. Like, I was leaning into it, it was holding me up, and a couple of minutes ago I saw a bird just like hovering. Like, it wasn't moving forward, it wasn't moving up, it wasn't moving down, it was just like floating without moving its wings. Just the wind was just holding it in place. So I met somebody down in the village when I hitchhiked, and the guy had stopped, like the third car that drove by, and he was like, "Oh, I got nothing to do right now. I'll take you to the northernmost tip." So that's where I am. So that was easy. There is an island that you can see from here that is a little uninhabited island, and it's like one of the most northern islands of Japan, and this is like really close to being the most northern point, but I think that area on Hokkaido that I was at a couple days ago is actually the most northern point. I mean, it sure said that a lot, so if it's not, then they are false advertising. But it's really pretty when we drove across this island. There's only a road on one side of it. It's a pretty long island, and as you drive along the road, you're basically going through just village after village after village along the ocean, just little fishing villages, and it feels unbelievably remote. I mean, there's stuff here, but it's like Rishiri Island, the last island I was on, feels like crazy built up compared to this. This feels really, really remote comparatively, even though it's only 10 kilometers away. And we drove across like this field kind of in the middle of the island. He took like a shortcut kind of, and past some lakes and stuff, and it's just a very, very pretty place. I don't know how to get around without hitchhiking though. Like, a lot of people just bring their cars, but I don't even think you can rent a car here. I didn't see any rental shops or anything. Maybe I just missed them. But like, tourists just bring their cars on a ferry, and it's pretty damn expensive. It's like $300 round trip just for your car. I don't know, there's a bus, but it comes like 5 times a day, that's it. So I guess maybe you could do that. I think most people that come just come on tourist buses, and that's how they get around. So I'm really happy that I've met my new friend here. And he was just telling me about the island, how there's like 2,000 people that live here or something. He's lived here his entire life, and he works for a snack, which is kind of like a izakaya, sort of. Look it up online. It's called just look up Japanese snack and try to weed out the food. You're looking for like a bar type thing. Anyway, so I'm gonna look around a little bit and enjoy this wind because it's pretty fun. He's now brought me over to his favorite place. It's another little, it's a little cape that he said, he's like, man, it sucks you're here because the weather isn't good. I mean, to me, the weather is great because it's not raining. But he said if it's clear, it's unbelievable looking here. And I saw a picture and it did look pretty amazing. But I'm still gonna climb up this little rock here and see what I can see. Might be a little cloudy, but it's still a cool experience. This guy is awesome. So this map is pretty good for me to show you the route that we've taken. So we started somewhere down in this area and he drove me all the way up here and across this mountain range and by this lake, and then we went all the way up here and this was the northernmost point. And now we've somehow come back, I think, down this direction and we're here. And he said that this bay area is like his favorite area, and he said the view from here is just unbelievable when it's clear. But today it's not clear, but I'm still really enjoying it. That guy's not joking around. This is beautiful. The way that the hills and stuff just roll straight into the ocean, and just the way that the water, the color is like different shades of blue and stuff, and just the green and just the everything. It's amazing here. I think that this guy, he seems like he's just got some free time, and he's stopping and like talking to friends and stuff, and like he seems like he knows everybody. I mean, I guess if you've lived here your whole life, you probably know everybody. So I mean, I think this is just an opportunity for him to just hang out and like drive around and you know, just like get to see his friends and all that. So this is working out very well for me, and I think it's working out well for him. He seems like he's having a good time. I asked what kind of animals lived on this island, and he was like, nothing really. He was like mice and squirrels. He said there's not even snakes here, which is pretty nice if you're gonna be hiking around like me with bad footwear on, like an idiot. But if my German friend comes here, he might have trouble finding food. So this has now been going on for a couple of hours. It's amazing still. This guy is great. He was just like, dude, I work at nighttime. I got nothing to do. Let's cruise around. So we're cruising around. He's taking me around basically every place in the island. He's brought me over to the southern coast, and there are a couple of things that are interesting here. One is called Momo Iwa, and one is called Neko Iwa. And Iwa means like rock, or not like mountain, it's like crag or something, like big rock, basically. And Momo means peach. And the reason they've called it peach rock is because it looks like a peach, like straight up. When you're driving up to it, it's shaped just like a peach. And Neko means cat. So the other one looks kind of like a cat's ear. It's a little less striking than the peach. Like the peach really looks like a peach. The cat ear, that might be a bit of a stretch, but it doesn't matter. It's unbelievable looking. We drove up to it and he was like, this is like Japan's Grand Canyon. And I think he might have something to it because it's pretty striking the same way the Grand Canyon is. I was confused and I thought that this was the cat rock, but it's actually this thing down here, which looks way more like a cat. You can see its back hump and then its two ears on the top. Well, that's awesome. That could not have gone better. Like, that was unbelievable that all worked out so quickly. I was on that island for maybe 4 hours total, and by the end of it, the guy was like, I'm out of places to show you. Like, I don't have any place to get, like, there's no more places to show. Like, he was like, you can go hiking and stuff, but he was like, with the weather the way it is, and like, it takes a long time, and blah, blah, blah. He said you have to stay here for a night or two to get all that done. And real talk, I'm kind of getting ready to go back to Tokyo. So I really want to see that island. And I'm really happy it went the way it did. And I'm going back earlier than I even had anticipated. I thought I was gonna take the last ferry back, and I'm taking the ferry before the last ferry. So it's like 1 o'clock and I'm on a ferry. Like I said, I met that guy and it was just over 3 hours, and he drove me to like all of the like awesome viewpoints on the island. And the coolest part about it wasn't, I mean, it was cool to see the beautiful island. The island is shockingly beautiful. It looks like something you could shoot a movie on, and like, it's like Lord of the Rings styles, like Keshiki, landscapes and things like that. But the coolest part was just chilling with this dude. This dude was so chill, and he was like, I have no idea how old he was. He has a daughter who's 21, but he looks like he's 40. but he's Japanese, so maybe he's 80. Like, you can't tell. And he was just had like the coolest smile and was just like straight up the chillest dude I've ever seen. And like, I'm watching this guy, and like, I mean, I'm not old or anything, but I mean, I'm also not like young, but I still see old dudes sometimes, and I'm like, that dude is a goal. Like, to become that, like to become his age and be that friendly and that happy all the time. And he was just like well dressed, and he had a good, like, his beard was like well taken care of, and like, he was just a cool guy. And like, just to meet people like that are older than you and be like, that's a goal. Like, that's so cool to get to hang out with somebody like that. And a couple of interesting things happened. We went to one of the tourist areas things, and there's not much tourism here, but there are a few buses that can get to places, but he took me places buses couldn't go, the roads were too narrow. But they have these little stands where they sell like food and like snacks and things like that. And he was like, hey, you go up there and take a look at this thing, and I'm gonna hang out in this shop with my friend. And I was like, okay. So I came back down, and he was like, yeah, come on in. And he's sitting there in the back of the shop with this other dude that has like it's like a Polly Walnuts vibe from The Sopranos. Like, this guy's got a strong personality, he's a character. And like, he owns the shop, and the way these two dudes are talking, they're talking to each other, and they're using, I can barely understand anything that they're talking about, but they're talking about like breaking up portions of money and stuff, and like, there's something going on, like, and I got the impression that my friend maybe kind of has a lot of power on the island, like, even though he just runs like a bar basically. But it seemed like the way he was talking that they respected him, and when you would see other people, the way they would wave at him and stuff, like, either he's just very light or he has some sort of power there on the island. I'm not quite clear what was happening, but he was sitting there and he was drinking a beer, and like, we're in a car, like, we weren't in a car at the time, but like, we're about to get back in a car, right? And there's a zero tolerance policy in Japan, like, the boat just really like shook hard. There is no, if you drink anything, you are not legally allowed to drive. And when I first got in the car, I put my seatbelt on. He was like, well, he laughed at me, like, why are you doing that? And everybody else in Japan, they're always like, put your seatbelt on. So I had asked him at that point when I first got in, I was like, oh, the police here aren't strict? And he was like, nah, they're not strict, it's not a big deal. And so he was drinking a beer, and it clicked in his head that I looked at him, I was like, well, he's drinking a beer. And like, I don't think I looked shocked, but he realized that that's not normal in Japan. And he was like, it's okay, I know the police. I was like, all right, it's cool. What does that mean exactly? You know what I mean? But anyway, this guy was so chill, and I learned more from this guy in 3 hours than you can learn like touristing an island with like a tour guide in like 2 days or something like that. Because like, I had full access to ask him whatever the hell I wanted. So I was just asking him, like, I mean, within reason, you know? But I mean, like, I was like asking him, like, what do people do here what are their hobbies and stuff here, you know? And he is just like drinking alcohol, playing croquet. They call it gate ball. I'm not sure if that's the same thing. I've never heard it said in Japan, but Japanese, but he explained it to me, and it sounds like it's croquet. And he said that they play mahjong and do karaoke, and he was like, but when I asked him what the hobbies were, he was like, the first thing he was like drinking, I guess? I don't know. He's like, people here don't do much. Maybe his hobby is picking up hitchhikers and giving them awesome tours. Let's see, I'm trying to think of other things. Oh, he drove us past other questions I got to ask him. Like, I asked him about the population, and he said it was, I think, I couldn't, unless I misheard him, he said like 2,000, like between 2,000 and 3,000. And he said that we kept driving past schools, and the schools were like dilapidated and closed, and he said that I asked him like, what's the deal with like these elementary schools that aren't open? He was like, the population is just like sharply declining. So it has the same problem a lot of places in rural Japan have got, where everybody's moving to cities, all the young people move to cities, and like these rural areas are dying like rapidly. And I mean, I wonder, like, in 10, 15 years, what are these areas even gonna look like? Are there gonna be people there? Is there gonna be infrastructure at all? Like, I have no idea. Like, right now everything was fairly built up. I mean, the roads are in really good condition, and they were doing construction of a new tunnel and stuff, so I mean, it's not a complete disaster. But I mean, I wonder what the future of that island is. I hope it's okay. He also mentioned to me that the tourism has fallen off quite a bit too, that's not a good sign, because that seems like the kind of place that tourism is probably necessary. He did say that his father had been a fisherman, and most people there are fishermen. Okay, trying to think of more things that he said that were interesting. Oh, we drove past the airport, and he was like, yeah, we got an airport. I called it an airport, and then he called it to translate directly in Japanese, he's called it an airplane place. He wouldn't use the word airport. I think because it's so small, it says a strip. And it's got a little like terminal that's like not looking that great. And he said that they don't use it very often because the wind is so strong on the island that landing an airplane is really dangerous. So like most of the year the wind just stops airplane flights altogether. So really the only way people get back and forth is on a ferry. Let's see, we drove past a Seiko Mart, like the convenience store that's from Hokkaido. And he said there was only one on the island, and he said that it was the busiest in Hokkaido. Like the sales were the highest in the whole area, all of Hokkaido, which is a large area. But I mean, he said it's like the only shop on the island. He said there's a supermarket, but he was like, everybody shops at the convenience store. So like the convenience store is like turning over bucks, man. And other things that were rare that we saw, stoplights. I finally noticed a stoplight, and I was like, how many stoplights are there on the island? And he was like, 2. And he said there's also 2 gas stations. So anyway, like I'm counting that as kind of like the end of my Hokkaido adventure. I'm gonna go south, and I may end up seeing other things, but like that was my northern like end point, and it could not have been cooler. Like when I got off the boat, I was like, what am I gonna do? That's how it is all the time. I mean, what am I gonna do? And it always works out. Like last island, I got that bike. This island, I met the most amazing person ever, and he drove me around for 3 hours just because he didn't have anything better to do. It was amazing. Oh, I forgot. When I went to the little tourist area where he was hanging out with his Polly Walnut's friend, he was like, you want a beer? And I was like, I don't want a beer. I don't drink beer. So I was like, I don't want a beer, but I'll have a garana. And they had a pretty good laugh about it. And then he wouldn't let me pay. And then when he got up to leave, the shop owner wouldn't let him pay for me or his beer. Like, so again, there's some sort of power thing going on there. I mean, maybe power is not the right word, but there's something. There's a thing happening. On this boat, they're selling little jugs of ice cream, and I got one. The reason I got it is because it says it's Wakanai milk that they use for it. And I got kumazase, kumazasa, and I had to look this up on my dictionary, and it's some sort of bamboo or something flavor. I was like, okay. They had vanilla and they had chocolate and they had this, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll go with the one. I don't even have any idea what it is. Some sort of bamboo ice cream. That's a thing. So I'm sitting here trying to open it with my hand. Aha, got it open. Sweet. So it is ridiculously green. Okay, I didn't expect that, but I realistically had no expectations. I got a little spoon here, and let's see here. Oh, it's pretty hard. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. There we go. I got a little tiny bit. Whoa, it tastes like matcha. Really? Maybe I screwed up my translation. I'm gonna double check that. Yeah, it just tastes like matcha, but it's almost like rubbing wood on your tongue. The texture is bizarre. Let me see if I can get a bigger piece here. It's really hard. Okay. All right, got another piece. Okay. Okay. I can see a bamboo-y flavor. Okay. That sounds like a weird thing to know, but yeah. Whoa. I don't know how to convey the flavor of this in words. It is not sweet. There is a milky flavor to it, a little tiny bit, but it tastes like. Yeah, the matcha flavor is still pretty overwhelming. I wonder if they put matcha into it, or if that's just what bamboo tastes like. I don't know. That's quite a bit. Oh, I double checked and it looks like I hadn't made a mistake. Kumo bamboo grass. Interesting. I have no idea. So it's a grass, I guess. And the kanji for it is bear and bamboo grass. So, I guess. Bear grass. I'm eating bear grass. Bear grass ice cream. I kind of wish it was made with bear milk. That would be amazing. Well, it'd be a good selling point, but I don't know if it would be good or not. Is bear milk even edible? Bears have milk, right? And now I get to go back a Wakanai, and I get to see that lady again. We're gonna bust up in there and be like, a long time no see, and she's gonna yell at me. Man, a boat nap is the best nap. I mean, for real, how do you, it's like, ooh, you get to be a baby again, it's amazing. That's not a word I expected to see on the side of a building in Japan. Is there more to the name of that Weezer CD than I thought? I just walked past a house and there was like a girl that was, I don't know, 12 or something, sitting outside, and her mom was doing laundry. It's a rain. Hope she was putting it away. Anyway, her mom was doing something with the laundry, and they were quite a ways away, and I heard the girl like be like, "That's that hitchhiker." But it's been a long time since I've held a sign up in this town. So, I mean a long time as in like maybe 3 or 4 days. But then I guess like how many people that look like me like come wandering through this town. Especially with a sign with Japanese written on it to go someplace. Probably sticks out in her mind. I'm back in that hotel with the lady that's like, I don't know, man, she's weird, but she's awesome. I was like, yo, you got a room? I walked in and she looked at me and she goes, why are you here? Like, and I was like, do you got a room for the night? And she was like, and I said, do you have a room for the night? And what she says to me is, in English, she goes, one? And I don't know if she means one person or like one night. Like, I'm not clear exactly what that means. But, I mean, the answer to both of those questions is yes. So I was like, sure, yes, one. We'll go with one. And she brings me to a room that is different than the other room was. This room has got a little couch, and it's got a carpet the other one didn't have. And I guess everything else is kind of the same. But it's a little bit different, so I was like, you know, is the price the same? And she was just like, hi, onaji. It's like, she's like, yes, it's the same. But and then she gives me this big smile and just turns around and walks away. And it kind of seemed like this isn't a room she normally rents out, but she just did it anyways. Like, maybe she sleeps here usually or something. I don't know. It looks like a room a customer would stay in. I have no idea. But the way she, and it's in a corner of the building that's not used with the other rooms are all on the second floor. This is on the first floor. I'm not really 100% clear what just happened, but I got a place to stay tonight and it's the same price, and the lady's amazing. I stepped up into that Seiko Matto to see if I could get one of those tuna mayo onigiris, and I realized that they have got 2 different sections of onigiri, and one section of onigiri is like, looks like they've been made in a factory someplace else. And I've had those in the past and I wasn't that impressed. And then the one that I grabbed earlier today was more expensive by like 50 yen or something, but it looks like maybe they made them there or something. I don't know. They're packaged kind of loosely, so it makes it look a little more like it was made like, you know, there, like earlier today or whatever. But they didn't have any tuna mayo, so I ended up with like a sandwich, which is okay, but I'm only gonna be in Hokkaido a few more days, man. I gotta find another one of those things. Alright, so I came back over to this place near where I had the Russian food a couple days ago when I was in town, and they've got this little like area that's like kind of like modern looking yatai, and they're all enclosed because of, you know, weather. And they're all very new, and it's kind of a cool looking little area. Sometimes when they build like new things that are supposed to be yatai-esque, you just kind of like, meh, looks lame, but this one actually looks alright. And there's a soup curry place that I found, and that's on the menu, man. That sounds really good. So I ordered it, and it comes with like a really watery soup with a side of rice, basically, and then you take and you kind of put the rice into the soup and eat it with a spoon, that type of thing. And I chose the mushroom and vegetable one. And the reason that I chose that is because Hokkaido's vegetables are amazing. Totally on fleek, yeah. So I thought, how could I go wrong with that? And it looks pretty damn amazing. So it smells pretty damn amazing too. I think he did something special with the rice. Not sure. It looked like he put something on the inside or something. Pardon my camera, y'all. It looks like maybe just a little bit of, I don't know. I'm not sure what he did to it. But anyway, we're gonna give this a go. My bad about all that camera work. It's difficult. So anyway, a little bit of rice in with the soup curry. Fucking good. It's really good. You can choose the spice level, the size of the, and the size of the rice. And I just went with the middle road on the spice. I always do that when I eat someplace new, like just give me the middle, I want the standard, whatever. And if I have a chance to come back, maybe I'll up my game or lower my game if it's necessary. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. Oh, look at this. So we got a little egg, I guess, in the soup curry. It was kind of like half boiled, so when you bit into it, it was a little wet on the inside. That was fun. Yeah, so we came to Sapporo like 2 years ago or something for the snow festival, and at that time we had visited a soup curry restaurant that was in Sapporo. And soup curry is apparently like a Hokkaido thing. And I think if I remember correctly, Katie got the vegetable one, and I was just jealous of it the whole time. So now I'm getting down the vegetables on my own. Yeah. Very good meal. I'm very happy to have this. From here on out today, I'm just gonna head back to my hotel room, see if I can get a towel and some sheets out of the old lady, and then I'm just gonna sleep. I'm gonna try to get up early tomorrow. We'll see how that goes, and then I'm gonna do my best to hitchhike as far as possible tomorrow. And I'm not sure how far I can make it. Maybe I think I can do Sapporo, but I'm not sure if I can get further than that. I hope I don't. I kind of want to miss Sapporo because I don't want to have that problem that I keep having where I get stuck in these cities and then it's a huge hassle to get out. So hopefully I can land someplace smaller. We'll see exactly. I don't have any idea how it's going to go. We'll find out. As scary as she might be, she's fixed up my room and like I thought I was going to have to ask for sheets and stuff. She came and made my bed for me and my towels are right there. Like, I'm all set, man. This lady, me and this lady, we got a thing, man. We got an understanding. And she never gave me a key. Remember last time I forgot the key and I had to walk back and give it to her? So this time she just didn't give me a key, so I just left the door unlocked because, you know, whatever, Japan. And she didn't lock the door, so when I came back it was unlocked. So she's she's aware she didn't give me a key, and I saw her in the hallway, she still didn't give me a key. So maybe she just thinks I'm an idiot. She gave me a big smile though, so it's all good. Alright, it's 8 o'clock on the nipple. I've checked out, I'm on my way. And let's see, I made my sign earlier. Let's see if I can get my sign out for you. Ba-da-dow. So that's the first time I've got to write south on a sign. I have a hunch south is going to be easier than north. I don't know why, I just think that you're going to have more people going towards Sapporo and you're going to have more people going towards like the ferry terminal in southern Hokkaido. Then you're going to have more people going towards Tokyo and stuff. I just feel like that's going to be an easier thing, but maybe I'm just being delusional. Not that it was difficult getting north, like it really wasn't. I just, for some reason, think I'm gonna be able to cook some bacon moving south, and that's kind of I think that's what I've decided I'm gonna do. I might end up stopping someplace in Hokkaido on the way south, but I think it depends on how things time out and how I feel. I'm thinking about trying to be back in Tokyo in a couple days, which is a pretty tall order to get all the way south. I think it's gonna take me 2 days to get all the way to the ferry terminal in Hokkaido. If I had my own car, you can drive there in 8 hours, but to make that hitchhiking could be a challenge, especially starting where I'm starting. And then I think it could be 2 days hitchhiking from Aomori, where I think I will end up on the ferry down to Tokyo. Again, that's doable in a day, and maybe on the speedy roads, on the highways, I can do it. We'll find out. It's gonna be part of the adventure. So I'm gonna see how quickly, basically, I can get from the northernmost area of Japan back out of Tokyo. Unless I decide I want to stop and see something interesting. So I checked out of the hotel room with the lady. And she's cool, man. Like, this lady is awesome. She remembered, like, the last time I checked out, she was like, "What's your name?" And I told her, and it turned into the same. She's like, "I can't understand this English. I don't have time for this," and blah, blah, blah. But she remembered how to write my name. Like, she didn't ask me again. She just wrote it on the receipt without even saying a thing. So, yeah, this lady is cool, man. This is the lady I would chill with. So, it's time to find a ride. I did just realize today is Sunday, so perhaps I will catch people that are heading long distances to go return from their weekend vacation or whatever, and that might help me make more ground. That's kind of what I'm hoping. Is there logic behind that at all? Would they be leaving Sunday morning though? I guess if they had to go a long way, they would. The city suffers from the issue for a hitchhiker that there are 2 southbound roads because it's kind of the tip of a peninsula. So you have one southbound road going down one way and one southbound road going the other. And I have to choose which one I want to take. I don't really have any information on what to do because I feel like a lot of the people that are going to be traveling a long way might take the coastal side that might have pretty views and stuff like that, and those might be the people that are like going a tremendous distance, and that would be the people that would be ideal for me to ride with today. But maybe local people would take the other road because I think it's a bigger road, and maybe it's slightly more direct to go southbound. I don't know. So I feel like if I ask a local person like which road would be best, they might tell me that, but the better road for me might be the other, because non-local people are going to be taking it, and realistically non-local people are probably who I want to ride with. So I'm sitting here on the corner of the road. I'm going to have a little bit of a snack before I grab a ride, and I'm watching license plates, and I'm seeing if license plates for long distances are going that direction or the other direction, and that's kind of what I'm going to do, I think, to gauge that. But I mean, it doesn't mean if you have a license plate from out of town, doesn't mean you're actually going south. Like, they could just be going to the coast or something. It doesn't mean anything. So I don't have any real way of like gathering the correct information. So it's gonna be a bit of a guess, but as always, it'll probably work out. Surprise, surprise, it's raining. What I decided to do is just sort of stand on the corner and show my sign to cars going both directions, which seems weird. Like, I want to go south and both directions are south, kind of, eventually. Anyway, so I'm just standing here, and I'm sure people going like in the northern direction are like, that guy's showing the sign to the wrong people, but I don't think I am. Like, I don't know. Probably look crazy to about 30 or 40% of these people. But hopefully the fates will decide, and I'll just go in a direction. I've had to alter my location to a slightly less visible but much more dry place. I found a bridge to stand under that was across the street from where I was. At first it was sprinkling and that was okay, but then it's raining and that just starts to suck. I don't want to get in somebody's car all soggy, you know what I'm saying? This would be a lot of fun if it wasn't raining. I'm glad I didn't stay on that island last night. That would suck. I'd be on this island like all rainy and whatnot. So I made the absolute right decision. Everything went awesome yesterday. All right, so this is a new one. This is very interesting, I guess. Well, to the situation to me, it was interesting. So I'm standing under the bridge and it's raining. And it's cold and windy. It's not a pleasant place, but it's okay. I can tolerate it. And this woman pulls up and she's like, she stops, and I've got my sign that says southbound, basically. And she was like, okay, like, she's like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, I was basically like, I just said, like, I'm returning to Tokyo, so I just want to go south. Like, Sapporo or whatever in that direction, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, okay, okay. And she was like, well, where do you want to go? And I was like, well, south-ish. And there was a lot of confusion because like I'm assuming she's also going south because I'm holding a sign that says south, but she's not going south. She's just there. And I was like, well, hold on, where are you going? And she was like, I'm not going anywhere. And I was like, wait, what's happening here? And she was like, well, I can get you going in the southish direction, kind of, you know? I was like, okay, like, if you can take me, so I asked her, like, because I was at that point where the road can go two souths. It's like, what is the good south? She was like, I don't know. So I was calling a bunch of friends, can't get a hold of anybody. Eventually she's just like, let's go. I was like, okay, let's go. And she calls her sister, and she's like explaining to her sister the situation. And then she's like, okay, hold on a second, we're gonna stop. So we stop at her house, and I guess at her sister's house. And so the woman that picked me up turned out to be, she's 29, and she just got married, congratulations. And her sister is 16 and still lives with her parents, of course. So they stop at that house, and we stopped there, and she's like, we're gonna wait a couple minutes. And she was like, my sister's gonna come out. My sister likes English a lot. So when she comes out, let's just, you know, chat with her in English. Okay, no problem. That's easy for me. The girl driving speaks like no English at all. So her sister comes out and she's like, okay, I'm gonna drive you down to the coast and take you to Michinoeki or whatever. And that was the plan. And I don't know exactly what happened, but we never ended up at a Michinoeki. She just drove like for like an hour and a half. Like, and we're just, you know, I'm just chatting with her sister, and it's fun. We're having a good time. But it's like, she wasn't coming this way. She just like basically picked me up, and she was concerned about the weather. She was just like, you can't be out here in the weather. It's too wet, it's too blah, blah, blah. So she was concerned about that. But then once she put all these pieces together, she realized that she could turn it into just like English conversation time for her little sister, which I think is really awesome because like, it's really obvious the bigger sister really cares about the little sister. And she knows her little sister is into English, and like knows like here's an opportunity for her to like speak with a native speaker. And she gave her little sister that gift in a way, like of just getting to, you know, chit chat with somebody that speaks native English, which is not that common from the impression that they gave me in Wakanai. The little sister goes to an English conversation school, but the teacher that she has is native Japanese speaker. Obviously she probably speaks English well. The 16-year-old girl's English was, for a 16-year-old girl in Japan, like in rural Japan, very good. So like good work, very cool. So it was a really cool experience for me, and I mean we just had the kind of like goofy time, just like rolling down the road, just talking about Justin Bieber and stuff, and how she wants to be a beautician and she wants to move to Los Angeles in the future when she gets out of high school and stuff. And it was really cool to just see like from their perspective of the universe, you know what I mean? Like again, like when would I have ever had that opportunity aside from if I had been standing on the road at that moment? Like when would have I ever met those people and got to have that experience of just like rolling down the road and just BSing with some random Japanese girls, you know what I mean? Like, it is really, really cool. So I'm a little like worried that they drove me too far. I feel a little bad about it, but like she wasn't gonna leave me like in the middle of nowhere. And between Wakanai and where we're at, that's all there is. There's nothing else. And, like I was looking around like, man, if I get dropped off at a Michinoeki here, there's no other cars. Like, but she ended up driving me all the way into a town, and like totally awesome. And now she's gonna get to hang out with her little sister going back. So, and they were excited because there's no 7-Elevens in Wakanai, and we stopped at a 7-Eleven. They were like, yeah, we can go to 7-Eleven. So they were kind of excited about that. But I mean, it turned into I guess. I mean, I was like, you know, pretty careful about like, are you sure you have time? Is this okay? And she's like, I got nothing to do. I've got nothing to do. Not sure how much her sister was signed on for this, but she seemed like she was all right. We got to talk about, so the little sister talked, really, she's really into America. She's like into like American pop music and movies and things like that. And she was showing me like her Instagram feed and something called, what was it called? Musically? I've never even heard of this before, I'm too old for it. But it was funny, like she has all these, she follows all these foreigners and stuff that sing like American songs and blah blah blah. And it was cool, just like, you know, I mean, what, I don't know, I don't have a lot in common with a 16-year-old Japanese girl, you know, like, maybe I have more than I'd like to admit in common, but anyway, like, it's just cool to like, I don't know, what do you talk to a 16-year-old Japanese girl about? It's like talking to her about like her the applications she uses on her cell phone and stuff, you know? Like, show me things that you don't know anything about, blah, 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 blah. Or that I don't know anything about, you know? So it's kind of interesting. But anyway, this is getting really long-winded at this point, but it was a cool experience. And I'm like not quite halfway to Sapporo, which is ridiculous, but like it's close to halfway. So I mean, I made a lot of ground with those incredibly nice girls. And from here, gonna keep heading south. I still don't even know where my end goal is tonight, but I think I'll just let fate decide. The best part about this town is there is only one road going south, so it alleviates me of any decisions. Just southbound and go. Well, that couldn't have gone better. That's a boat, y'all. So yeah, shortly after those girls dropped me off, I got picked up by a dude that was driving to the southern part of Hokkaido. And I'm not down in Hakodate. I had thought about going to Hakodate and spending a couple of days there, but this guy was like, dude, I can drive you all the way to the ferry port, like in Tomakomai. And that's the ferry port that I arrived to Hokkaido in. And I was just like, man, if you can take me to the ferry port, let's do that. So I'm gonna skip Hakodate. I'll save that for a trip with Katie or something in the future. So, I mean, we did a long way today. We did like 360 kilometers in like 4 hours, basically, between those two rides. But I mean, it took 2 rides, that was it. Today went phenomenally well from a hitchhiking point of view. And the guy that picked me up, he said he's hitchhiked around before, and like when I told him I was trying to get to the ferry port, it's further than he was gonna go, but he was like, man, I'll take you there. It's all good. So he drove me down here, and again, like amazing. And we were in the car together for quite a while, maybe 2.5, almost 3 hours with that guy. And it was cool because like we got to just, he was easy to talk to, and we got to talk about things like, again, it was like pushing the boundaries of my Japanese. Like when you get to talk with somebody for a while, they can start to understand like your limits and stuff, and then like the conversation gets easier, not because they're dumbing it down for you, but just because you're more comfortable as a person. Like with him, he understands you've already laid out your flaws. So it's like you're past that point, so now I can make mistakes and I can try new, like try to explain things that I've never talked about before, and it's comfortable. And he's like, he was a patient guy and he's listening. He's like, okay, I understand. And he was interested in like my grammatical mistakes and like why things were. He was like, yeah, why is that? Oh, that's gonna be loud, I think. And it was just a really cool conversation. And it was cool to hang out with this guy, and he's kind of adventurous. He went to Turkey a few years ago, and he likes to travel around Hokkaido, and he likes like all these other things. We had a lot in common, so it was awesome. And next step is to get a ferry ticket. The window is closed now, but the boat that's behind me is going to Sendai. I thought about going to Sendai. That would get me closer to Tokyo. I'm gonna try to get home tomorrow. I don't know if it's possible from Hachinoe, where I'll end up on the other side of this boat ride, but I think it's within the realm of possibility. If it goes to anything like today, it'll be no problem. I'll be home by noon. But this boat's going to Sendai, so I asked the girl, I was like, yo, how much are tickets to Sendai, just out of curiosity? And she was like, ooh, the cheapest tickets are sold out. So I'm a little bit concerned I might run into that problem with the boat to Hachinoe too. So since the cheapest tickets to Sendai are sold out, I'm not going to Sendai. It's too expensive. So I've got to wait for this window to open and then hopefully be first in line and hope they didn't get like pre-sold out. And if all that works out, then I'll be on a boat here in a few hours that arrives really early in the morning on the other side, like before 5 a.m. Which I'm thinking maybe I'll try to hop a ride with one of the truckers or something. Maybe that would work, and that would get me moving really early. Otherwise, I'm gonna be waiting for everybody to wake up and get on the road, and that could kill some time. But I'm still gonna aim for Tokyo tomorrow. I might miss. I've also decided to try to start like a radio blackout for Katie, because I think it would be pretty fun to surprise her. I don't think she thinks that it's possible that I could be home like that quickly. Even if it's the day after tomorrow, I think it'll be a surprise. So it'll be fun if I can pull that off. We'll find out. There were some bikers here earlier and they were harassing Pepper. I about got in a fight, man. I was gonna throw down. You can't screw with Pepper. Peppa. Oh man, that's weird. Shoo. Alright, it's about 5 a.m. We just got to the ferry terminal and we're quite a ways away from the highway. So what I'm trying to do is get out to the road before the cars that are leaving the boat get to the road. I've got a sign that says highway. And I'm gonna see if I can try to get a ride with somebody who just got off the boat, because otherwise I have no idea how I'm gonna catch a ride. There's not gonna be anybody going by. Like it's gonna be way too early. Last night I hung out with a couple of drunk truckers and a Japanese dude who's starting to hitchhike today. And he had a lot of questions about like how. It's like, oh, okay, cool. It's good to talk to somebody that's done it. And I was like, dude, there's no problem. There's like some construction or something here. Shit, I gotta get to the road. And the drunk truckers explained that truckers never pick me up because they'll get fined, like insurance stuff and blah blah blah. So that explains that. Other than that, the ferry ride was just like the other ferry ride, really nice. Sleeping in a room with a whole bunch of people, and I hit the onsen twice this time because why not? Anyway, I gotta get a ride, so I'll update everybody later. Alright, so I did not get a ride from the cars leaving the ferry. It was dark. All those people are sleepy. It's 5 a.m. It never works. Like, it's just too early. Like, people are like, I don't want to deal with no honkies at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? So, oh, look at this flower. That's pretty. Anyway, so the problem is that the highway is like 10 kilometers away from the ferry port, of course. And I want to get on the big highway because I want to make a lot of ground today. So step one is to get to the highway. The good thing is it's so damn early. I'm walking that direction. I'm not missing a whole lot of traffic. So it's not that big of a deal. But on my way out of the ferry port, I didn't get a ride. And the guy that was hitchhiking from his first day today, he's from Hokkaido. And we caught up and we ended up walking for a while. And like, so there's this hierarchy when you hitchhike, and I've seen this online, and it totally makes sense. Like, the likelihood of getting picked up is highest if you're a single woman, and then maybe if you're two girls, and then if you're a single guy, and then like if you're a girl and a guy, and then if you're a single guy, like it's de-escalates down this line, and the very last one on the rung is more than one guy. People don't pick up more than one guy. More than one guy is like kind of threatening. More than one guy doesn't fit in your little Japanese car, etc. So, like, this guy is kind of like, he's just chilling with me. He's just chilling. Nice guy. But I'm kind of like trying to make a lot of ground today. And there's two guys trying to catch a ride right now. You know what I mean? Well, not right now, but a few minutes ago. And eventually we got to a point where he was going a different direction, and he's going to just go along the coast along normal, like, normal non-highway roads, and I need to get to the highway. So he's already at the road he needs to hitchhike off of, and I'm gonna go a lot further to try to get to that big road. But I would say it wasn't wasted time because like 10 cars went by because it was 5 in the morning. But it was also kind of like trying to get my groove going here, bro. But whatever. Dude was really nice, and he's gonna try to make it to Osaka and then back to Hokkaido in 10 days hitchhiking. That's gonna be a lot of moving, but I hope he makes it. Meanwhile, I am still trying to catch a ride to the highway, which is complex because there's more than one highway around here. But if somebody stops, I can at least tell them, hey, this is the highway I want to go to. I'm going to go to Tokyo, and they're going to know where Tokyo is, so it shouldn't be too confusing. It's also just occurred to me that I'm back on Honshu, where there's no place to pull off on the side of the road for cars. I was right about that in Hokkaido. There's tons of space. It's really easy for people to pull over. And here, that's just like an added little twist of a challenge. Some little fog over this city and this river looks really cool to me right now. Well, that's the entrance to the highway right there, and I'm real happy because I'm here. Saved me a lot of time. There's a school teacher stopped. She is a school teacher for elementary students, and she was on her way to school, and she was like, oh, it's really lucky that I get up really early and have to go to work because I got to pick you up and give you a ride. And I was like, you're right about that. So now I'm at the entrance, and there's actually a little bus stop here. Usually you're not allowed to be here as a pedestrian, but I think since there's a bus stop, I should be all right. So I'm gonna get me a sign. Gotta decide what to write on it. Maybe just Minami, south? I don't know. I need to look at the map and see if there's more than one south. And hopefully it won't be too long before cars start coming along. Yeah. I don't know what time it is. It's before 7. It's like 6:30 or something like that. So I'm doing all right. I think it's like an 8 or 9 hour drive if you don't stop to get to Tokyo. So that makes it realistic to get there today. That would be probably my longest, that would be definitely my furthest day. But if I get into the highway system, I just will make sure I don't get off of it, and I think that then I can cook the bacon. This really does raise the question is, why is there a bus stop here? Like, for what purpose would this exist other than hitchhiking? If you don't have a car, you can't walk either direction from where I'm at, so I don't understand why anybody would ever need a bus to get here that wouldn't be in a car, besides for me, who didn't use a bus. There's nothing here. There's no access. Okay, hey, there's access to a little walkway there, but it just seems like a really out of place for a bus to take. I don't know, why wouldn't the bus go up there? I'm dying to know now. Maybe it's for the people that work at the thing? People don't work at the thing, it's automated, I think. Maybe there's some people there. I don't know, but it still seems like those people probably have cars. I am slightly going to be suffering from lack of vehicles, I believe. It's looking a little grim at the moment, but it's still pretty early. That is really hard to film. Well, it's just after 10 a.m. and I have done about 300 kilometers. This dude picked me up and he was heading all the way to Sendai, and he was like, I'll give you a ride to Sendai. And I waited for maybe 20 minutes or something outside of that last area. It wasn't that long at all. And he's returning home from, he had worked over the weekend up in Hachinohe, and he was going home to Sendai. So he was like, yeah, I'll give you a ride all the way to Sendai. So I'm in Sendai now. Or I'm outside of Sendai, but I'm in a service area, or parking area. Service area? Parking area? I don't know. Parking area, I guess. There's no gas station. I think that's what it is. Service areas have got gas stations. Parking areas just have parking areas and sometimes little restaurants. So anyway, yeah, I guess I'm gonna just guess off the top of my head, maybe a third of the way to Tokyo now, and it's 10 a.m. So I think I'll make it today. I think I'll make it back to Tokyo. If I don't, I'll be surprised, but it still is quite a long distance. The guy that picked me up was really cool, really chatty. Like, we had a really fun conversation. He works for a kaiten sushi chain, so like what is it called? The merry-go-round sushi things, like those restaurants. And it's a big chain. There's one in Ikebukuro, like near where we live, and there's like 300 of them, or 300 of them in the country. So he said, he didn't explain exactly what his job was, but I got the impression like maybe like regional manager or something like that. And he gets to go to different stores, I think, and like, you know, keep an eye on them and stuff. And that's kind of what he had explained to me. So some sort of like regional district manager type situation of some sort. But yeah, it was fun, and I want to cook more bacon. I keep saying that because Katie, I think she laughs at me because of how lame that phrase is, cooking the bacon, like meaning you're going fast. So I want to keep, let's see, I can use it. I want to keep hauling the mail. So I'm going to get another sign up and see if I can catch a ride. I just realized how hungry I am, so before I put my sign up, I'm gonna have a snack, and I have bad news. Calorie mates, y'all. I picked up a couple of these a couple of days ago. One is plain. I'm gonna say plain for like super emergency situations. And one is fruit flavor. Fruit? I'm not really excited about this either. But I didn't sleep well I slept okay on the boat last night, but just not for a very long time, because I was hanging out with these drunk truckers, and it was kind of a late thing, and than when I finally laid down. It took me a while to fall asleep, and I got up in the middle of the night and realized that I went to Hokkaido, and one of my main objectives was to see stars. And because it's been cloudy for the entire month, I never really got a chance. I'm sure I had a chance and I just didn't realize it, but I never saw stars. So I woke up in the middle of the night, like 2 in the morning on that boat, and I was like, I bet I could go outside and see some stars right now. Because, you know, far away from land, usually clouds aren't so heavy and there'd be no like natural light at all. So I was like, this could be a very cool opportunity. Went outside, clouds, so I didn't get to see it. And then I had trouble falling asleep again, not a lot, but anyway. When I'm tired, if I eat, I'm fine. So I'm gonna keep eating so that I can maintain like a chirpy personality riding with people. Because if you're gonna catch a ride with somebody, you don't want to be a grump. You know what I mean? Like you want to have a good time with them. So I don't want to fall off that wagon. So I'm gonna jump into some fruits, Calorie Mate. I hope you guys are more excited for this than I am. I noticed at some point, I don't think I explained this, but there's nuts like in the Calorie Mate. You can see those little chunks. I guess it's nuts, I don't know. Maybe it's just stuffs. It doesn't taste like fruit, I don't think. I don't know. I guess kind of. Ooh, it's bitter. Oh, this is the worst one. This is worse than the chocolate one. So far, I think maple was my favorite. I mean, I don't know if I would say favorite, but the least repulsive. Oh, this one's really bad. Oh God. It's like on the back sides of your tongue, just like attacking it. It's just like brutalizing my taste buds. Oh God. Should have gone with plain. Do you remember when I went and I arrived in Hokkaido and I was like, oh, the weather is like so crisp. And then it's thick here. It's like really humid. It's like, I'm noticing it, let's put it that way. You can cut it, it's like the Calorie Mate of weather. You need a drink of water, you go down with it, you know what I'm saying? It's been almost an hour now and I've had a reasonable stream of cars. It hasn't been dead, but it hasn't been like a constant flow. But I haven't even had a nibble. Like not even like a eyebrow raise, you know what I'm saying? Like not even a shake on the line. And I'm beginning to think that maybe Sendai is a black hole of hitchhiking. I had a hell of a time getting out of here last time and I'm near Sendai now, so maybe there's just something about Sendai, like you will stay here forever. Alright, I've moved another, I don't know, hour and a half maybe? I'm really not clear. I'm really kind of getting tired. So things are kind of, time is just kind of lost on me at the moment. But I'm down the road, I'm just north of Fukushima now. And a woman picked me up. It took me a while to get a ride to that last place. Like I said, I think Sendai is a black hole of hitchhiking. So I made it quite a ways. A woman did pick me up. She has like a lot of foreign friends and stuff, and she's studying English, and we actually went and we got lunch together at a rest stop that she said she frequents all the time because she goes back and forth up and down this highway all the time. So we stopped and I got a Sendai style, Sendai miso flavored tonkatsu, I think it was, and it was like a donburi, so on rice, so that's why I ordered it. Basically I like miso as well, and the miso was pretty distinct tasting. It was good. And now I am getting closer and closer to Tokyo. I need to catch another ride, and she has dropped me off at a service area which has a lot more people at it, so hopefully it'll be a little faster than it was last time. But if it's not, you know, I'll still keep going. It's not a big deal. I'm just like, I'm having, my ability to Japanese is degrading as I get tireder and tireder. So I was happy that she spoke some English, so we were able to divide the load a little bit on the language usage, and it was a good time. Always is. The first time that I drove north out of the Tokyo area with my friend Tommy and Emma, and we went with Tommy's parents up to a place north of Sendai. We drove along the highway, and part of that drive you get to look over the valley and you get to see Fukushima. And it's the city, it's not the coast where the nuclear power plant is, but it was just seeing it, because in my head, like before I saw that, like Fukushima is a scary word, but seeing the valley with the city in it from the highway, really, it's very pretty, and you get a really good view of it from here. And I just kind of want to share that with everybody, so that maybe your image, like of Fukushima, if it's this scary place, can be transformed a little bit the way that mine was when I first saw this beautiful view. Also, I'm not in Hokkaido anymore, so it's sunny. To be honest, I prefer the clouds at the moment because it's pretty warm. All right, let's see if we can do this. Tokyo. I completely forgot to explain this. It just occurred to me that it's important that I document this. So those drunken truck drivers I hung out with on the ferry yesterday, there was 2 of them, right? And they said they were from Hokkaido, and one of the guys said he was from, is it Obihiro or Abihiro? Obihiro, I think. I'm so tired. Obihiro is where I went to see those, the horse race with the gigantic horses, and they were pulling the sleighs through the gravel and all that, right? And I mentioned that I went to that, and one of the guys just kind of looked kind of stern at me, and I was like, what? Like, because he said he had lived near that area, right? That's why I had mentioned it. And I was like, what? And he was like, he says in English, no comment. I was like, and his friend loses it. And I was like, what? And it's like, they have a secret. And his friend is like, his friend goes, he used to be a jockey until he got as fat as the horses. And they lost it, man. The guy wasn't very fat, but he was probably too big to be a jockey. But I mean, it was a really funny situation. But yeah, I met a jockey for one of those things. It was pretty cool. He was really, really drunk and didn't have a lot to say about the experience, except for that he used to be skinny and now he can't do it. It's like about 6:20 on the outskirts of Tokyo right now, and I'm at a train station. It's getting dark. And I didn't hitchhike directly out of Tokyo. Remember, I jumped out of Tokyo on a train because the road system is really, really complex, and there's no chance of like being able to like easily hitchhike out of that city without like a luck from God. Like a gift from God would help you with that, and that's about it. And it's kind of go the same way going in. The train system is so extensive. It's just like, if you get a ride anywhere in the area of Tokyo, it's like, just take me to a train station and then I'll figure out my life from there. So that's what's happened. And my last ride took me, we were in the car together for a long time, 3.5 hours or something. And he's a drummer. But he doesn't, I saw, when I got in his car, I saw a drum throne. I was like, oh, you're a drummer? And he's like, yeah, I'm a drummer. And I was like, oh, cool. And then I asked him what kind of music he plays, and he puts on this music that's like raindrops, kind of. It's amazing sounding. It's really cool, like drumming. I was like, wait, that's not drums I know. And it turns out it's like some sort of Swiss instrument. It's kind of like modern. And I think it's called I'm confused because it's a Swiss word, and he told it to me in Japanese, and then he spelled it in English, and it's H-A-N-G, I think. Hong drum? I'm not sure how to say it right, but anyway, so he travels around Japan playing this instrument, and he's got albums and stuff, and he actually gave me one of his albums that we had listened to in the car, so it's just amazing. So we hung out with him, I hung out with him for a while, and then on the way back, he'd been on tour, and he had forgotten something at one of the, he played at like a little, kind of like a hippie-ish restaurant, like it's kind of out in the woods in Tochigi, I think, Fukushima area. And he had forgotten something there when he played there, so he was like, hey, I'm gonna stop by there and pick up this stuff I forgot. So we went in, and the people that worked there were like ridiculously friendly and nice. And they gave us some matcha and some like kibidango type little treat, and he got the drum out of his car and showed it to me, and he played it, and I can actually drop that footage in here, and it's really cool, just like the overtones and the way that the instrument sounds, and it kind of like echoes out really cleanly and everything, and the way he plays it is so smooth and stuff. It was a really cool experience. It was cool to see. So, like, again, like another like flawless moment. My hitchhiking is done. Like I'm gonna take a train back home. Like I'm done with the hitchhiking. So I've been hitchhiking for over a month, and I've been to like a ton of places and met a zillion people that I would never have gotten the opportunity to meet otherwise. It's been an unbelievable experience. And like hitchhiking is kind of like a scary word, I think. And I can, without a doubt, guarantee that it's not scary in Japan. Like nothing, the only bad thing that happened to me on this entire trip, like legitimately bad, was that I lost my own wallet. Like that's my fault. Like nothing bad came of the hitchhiking. Not one time, nothing. Not, I would say not even like awkward conversation. Like I had one guy that was a little strange, but I mean it was still like an amusing conversation. But I mean I didn't even have like a conversation with somebody that I can recall that was like, oh, I want this to end. Like this didn't happen at all. So I don't know, like it was just I don't even have the words to express like how awesome that was. And I'm gonna be on the train here for a while. I was really hoping that I was going to beat Katie home, or maybe even get there early enough to meet her outside of her work, but it's not gonna happen. She's getting off work in like 2 minutes, so I don't even know if I'll beat her home. I don't know if she's going straight home tonight. I haven't talked to her because my radio blackout, because I want to surprise her. So I'm not really clear when we're gonna run into each other, but I'm looking forward to it. So on the train ride home, I'm not quite home yet. I actually am just walking from Ikebukuro because I got a message. I figured out how to trick Katie into telling me when she would be home without her knowing that I'm here. So I know she'll be home at a certain time, so I'm gonna try to wait for her at the train station and hope that I can surprise her there. Anyway, so on my walk home, I've been thinking about like this trip, and like the most amazing part about this is, so when I was on Reboon Island a couple of days ago, yesterday, a couple of days ago, I don't know, I had gotten a ride with a guy and he drove me all around the island and showed me everything, and basically like did an entire tour of the island in 3 hours, something that would have taken me a long time on my own. Like a couple of days or something, like if I had to use a bicycle or something like that, or walking and like all that stuff. So, and I ended up learning a lot more about the island just by virtue of meeting him and him being able to explain things like as a local to me and all that. So that experience like really like compressed a lot of information into a short time period. It was like just getting like a huge injection of information and amazingness. And I kind of feel like as a trip in general, that's like kind of what happened to me. I feel like just getting to, I met so many people. Like I don't even have a guess how many rides I had. Like people ask me, oh, how many cars did you ride in? I couldn't even give a rough ballpark. It's just like, it's a lot. And I've met like sometimes more than one person in each car. And then like I've met people at guest houses, and I've met people and I've met people and I've met people and I've met people. And it's been a opportunity to like learn a tremendous amount about the people that live in Hokkaido and just like Japanese people in general. Like I learned, basically what I guess I'm getting to is, I feel like in the last 4 weeks, I learned more about Japan than I knew from the last 5 years. And I mean, I don't know if that's like really true, but that's how it feels. Like it just feels like I got this incredible boost in information, and it's amazing. Another aspect of this was like, part of the reason I wanted to do this was just like to challenge my Japanese. And I don't know if I got better technically at Japanese, but I certainly am a lot less shy about just throwing words out there and making it work. Like just pushing through and be like, oh, here we go, we're gonna get through this. I don't know how to talk about this, we're gonna figure it out. So like, I'm a lot more comfortable with that. And I mean, in a sense, that's getting better, but like, has my grammar increased or has my vocabulary increased? It's so difficult to judge that. I'm not 100% sure, but my ability to communicate has certainly increased. At the same time, I'm very aware of how bad my Japanese is, and I'm very aware of what I need to work on, which is a good thing. Like, I never thought my Japanese was amazing, but like, it's just, I have these huge flags now. I know what to aim for. I know what to work on. I know what to fix. And that's like kind of refreshing in a way, to be honest with you. And I also wanted to like discuss, like, some people are going to be like, oh, I don't speak Japanese, but I want to try to do this. Like, is it like something I'm going to be able to do? And totally you could. Like, keep in mind that like 90% of the people that I was in cars with spoke, if they spoke English, they didn't tell me. Like, it would be bare bones communication if you didn't speak Japanese in the areas that I went. Like, I was in the countryside, So maybe if you stayed more in Honshu, or you were like, you know, traveling around, you know, Tokyo area and like between Tokyo and Osaka and stuff, you might have a lot of people that speak English. I can't really vouch for that. I assume so, but up in Hokkaido, like it got to the point where like they're like, I'm pretty sure these people spoke like very, very little, if any, English at all. So your experience would be different. Not bad, just different. And even if you couldn't write like kanji and stuff on the sign, if you just wrote it in English, people, even people that can't speak English can read that. They will know what that means. They know the name of like towns around them in English. They're gonna be able to read it. So don't worry about that either. Point being is if you don't speak Japanese, don't let that stop you. However, if you do speak Japanese, it's going to really enrich in the experience, like a lot. And I guess that's like the whole thing. Now I kind of feel like, I feel oddly emotional right now. Like when we came back from our trip around the world, I felt kind of like it was overwhelming to go home. And since then we've gone on little trips and we've come home, and it's been, you know, okay, you're going home, you know, you get that feeling, but not like this is different, because I feel like I just did something pretty big, and to just be putting an end on that, and I don't, it's a little strange to do that, and it's weird that I'm about to see Katie. I got pretty excited about that, so it's like an emotional like ball of all these different feelings and stuff. So oh, you know what? I have one more. I have one last thing. One last thing. Let's see if I can get it. My bag is a disaster right now. I've just been jamming things in it. I'm gonna have to do it, guys. This is the plane. I'm starving. I haven't eaten since I ate lunch with the lady that gave me a ride towards Fukushima today. So I'm gonna have to try to one-hand this one. They're a little crumbled. This is, it just exploded everywhere. Gross. Gross. I've got plain calorie mate in my bag everywhere. It needs a bath anyways. Here it is. It cannot be worse than fruit. It tastes like nothing. It tastes like a boring butter cookie, like with no sugar. You know? Maple is the best, fruits is the worst. This is substance. Oh man. All right, let's go find Katie. I'd also like to point out that it took me maybe like 35 hours, I'm gonna ballpark, to get from Wakanai to Tokyo, hitchhiking, with ferry ride of course. But like, that's how long it takes. I feel like I could have done it faster if I'd gotten picked up quicker a couple times, but pretty much that has to be some sort of like reasonable, like maybe not the top record, but it's gotta be in the top like 10 or something, right? How many people have done it, though, is a question. Like in a straight shot. Sometimes when I'm in the city, I wait for Katie when she gets off work, and I never tell her, I just surprise her. And I'm sitting exactly where I would be waiting for her under those normal circumstances. So hopefully she's gonna come around this corner here in just a minute. It's fun, I don't know when she's gonna get here, so it's like she's gonna surprise me too. Is the suspense killing you too? She told me she was going to play drums, and there's a slight chance she went to a different place than what I think she went to, which would mean she was going home a different direction. I hope that's not happening. But if it does, then I'll just have to go home and surprise her. She probably thinks somebody's breaking in to kill her though. Squeaker's coming in. There she is. You called it? What? What?
Coming down the stairs. I was like, he's been kind of mysterious. And he asked about all these times. Maybe.
Oh man.
I always figure out the big things.
Oh, do you?
Sometimes.
Yeah. What if I hadn't been here?
I would have kept walking.
You would have called it tomorrow, and then called it the next day. Kept calling it until you called it.
Exactly. Works every time.
Hello. Goodbye. Hey everybody, so that was the last hitchhiking video, and I've actually got some notes here. I went through and I've counted up.
Notes.
I counted up some stuff that I thought was interesting regarding the hitchhiking video series, and so this is part 27. So the whole thing was 27 episodes, And I went through and counted up how much time that you would take to like watch the entire series without the end cards, because I think that like the end cards aren't necessarily the content that's involved.
Had to do some calculating there.
Yeah, so I went through and I looked that up, and if you were watching only the content that was created like while I was in Hokkaido, then it breaks out to 14 hours and 20 minutes. So that's
amazing entertainment.
That's a fairly long series. So if you made it this far, I'm really proud of you. Like that's a hefty commitment.
We've honestly heard like some people just say, "Oh, I really like watching that series."
Yeah. I'm sure if anybody is
cool.
watching all the way to this point, they're probably those people that have quite enjoyed it.
That's a good
I doubt anybody is. If anybody's sitting there like, "God, this has sucked," and they're still watching, like then I'm even more impressed, to be completely honest.
Haters gonna hate, but they're gonna watch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's the internet. It's a crazy world. Maybe somebody's fetish is being angry at me, like hitchhiking around, making videos without you. Who knows? Anything's a possibility.
Are they angry, like they hate you, or they really like me a lot?
I don't know. I think that they probably, maybe both.
Who is
I could see this both. They have rage boners. So
Don't we all?
let's get back into the stats here, because we've gotten a little off course with the rage boners. And so the distance that I went, this is a fairly accurate but not exact number. It was really impossible to tell, but the distance that I hitchhiked was 3,693 kilometers, which works out to be 2,295 miles, which is a bit shy of the width of the entire United States, but it's kind of almost that way. And if you probably...
Are you at least getting from Virginia to California?
Just about.
If it was the edge of Virginia
probably.
And like the beginning of California?
Probably would just about make that. So it's not the entire width of the United States, but it's really close. If that gives you an idea of how far I went. So I mean, I went from Tokyo all the way up and all the way back. And I took out the bit of area that I train rode to get out of Tokyo and back into Tokyo. So I did I did calculate that a little bit. And then the interesting part for me as well, I counted all the rides that I took, and I don't think I missed any. And it was 68 rides in cars. So that was breaking that down. It averages out to 34 miles per car. So I don't know. I thought that was really cool. So it was about 5 weeks that the whole thing took. So I don't know. I thought that these numbers were kind of fun, and I want to share them with everybody. And the other thing that's notable is most of the people that are watching this today, if they're watching it when it was put up, I left 1 year ago today. Like I'm gonna put this up on the 1 year anniversary of me leaving. So it took me a year to produce the entire video series, basically.
Happy hike-iversary.
Yeah, thank you. Like it's August 2nd, I think, was the day that I left. So we're shooting this a couple days in advance. And yeah, I don't know. Thanks for enjoying the series and everything. And I'm not even going to bother plugging all the stuff that needs to be plugged.
Thank you for coming home.
I'm glad
that you had a good time, but yeah, I was happy that you came home.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going on another trip. What do you think about that?
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I'm really busy at work, so I won't get to go, but...
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I don't know if anybody has any ideas of things that maybe I could shake this up a little bit. I think that this series was a little bit much about the explanation of things that were going on and not quite enough. Like,
what angles were you interested in? What did you enjoy watching about it that wasn't just about hitchhiking and the practice of hitchhiking?
Yeah.
What would you like to see more of?
I wouldn't focus the next series on the hitchhiking aspect, I don't think. I think it would be more like Eric goes to this place and Eric goes to that place, and try to focus a little bit more on the activities and stuff that were going on as opposed to the experience of hitchhiking. I think that has value, but I think I probably have covered that at this point. So if you guys have any feedback or anything on like what maybe I could do to expand or contract, maybe make it like more compact or whatever, or like what would you like to see in the future from a series that's similar to this where Katie isn't involved, then let me know. But we also need to shoot some things together, so we have stuff to do.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
And now that this is over, I can start editing the Hong Kong series.
Hong Kong!
Thanks, everyone.